Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Monday. Let me go ahead and set up this room real quick and then we can get started. So it looks like we had some crazy movements overnight, which is normal for for the market reopen. And we'll be watching to see how the market reacts to all of that stuff that's been happening since Sunday. So let me just give this some time to set up the room and then we can get started, guys. I'm currently in a US 30 scalp right now. I usually try not to enter at 6:30 when the market opens, but I'm currently in it. So I'm going to see how this ends up playing out. Let me just finish setting up the room real quick and then we can get started with the session. On another thing, guys, I think pricing for FTMO has changed again. I'm not sure why. It's off by, it's not off by a lot. It's off by like, let's see, like 10 pips. It's not a huge difference, but it still is a difference. All right, so let me just finish setting this up real quick. And then I think we should be good. All right, I think we might be ready to go. So let me just send out this link real quick. And then let me see if the chat's working. Guys, so I just sent that out. Let me send these links out real quick to the groups, and then we can get started, guys. So let me just send this out over here. All right, so I sent out that link. Hey, morning, Andrea. Morning, Alkin. Morning, Belly. Morning, Live Plus. Morning, Sam. Morning, everybody. I just mentioned right now that I'm in the scalp right here for US 30. It's probably going to move crazy right now once the market opens. And I also realized that FTMO's pricing is a little different right now compared to the currency.com data. It's only off by like 10 pips, but it is off. So when I did enter this trade, it pricing was just kind of all over the place. So let me just go ahead and send this link out to the rest of the groups and then we'll talk about that shortly. Let's get this going right here. Hey, what's up? Morning, David. Morning, Madvest. Morning, City. Morning, Funky. Morning, Patricia. Morning, everybody. So let me just send this link out to all of our pages and then we can get started. But I'm currently in the scalp right here. It's going to move crazy right now, obviously, when the market opens in 2 minutes. And we'll see how this ends up spiking around. But we'll see. I usually don't enter before market open like this, but I just entered anyways because I saw the opportunity. But it's a small risk. I didn't take a big risk off this trade since this is a risky trade to try to get into. So let me just finish posting up this video real quick to our pages, and then we should be good. There's actually another entry right there building up as well if this ends up rejecting off that structure and the pivot. So hopefully it does because I'm still in this buy. I got that there. One last place is going to be the Instagram. So let me just post it on the Instagram real quick, and then we can get started. So I'm not sure if you guys are following US 30 during London session, but it's been spiking around a lot, which is normal for market reopen. Plus, with a lot of the news, like with Elon backing Bitcoin, it's going to be pretty interesting how it's going to affect the market. But we'll see. I'll just post this to the Instagram real quick. That link posted there. That little swipe up feature. All right, so I think we're good. So let me just post this up. Wow, look at this crazy movements right here in the market. So yeah, market just open right now, 6:30. It's going to spike around a bit, and we'll see how this ends up playing out. I mean, there's a bunch of entries. Like, I mean, there's another buy entry that appeared down here as well. But like I was mentioning earlier, guys, the FTMO pricing and the currency.com pricing is a little off. It's only, I mean, it's not off by a huge amount. It's only off by like 10 pips, but it still is off. So just keep that in mind. So I might have to send out 2 parameters today if I end up calling, you know, the daily entry over here. So looks like the previous signal was a sell. So the next signal has got to be a buy. I have my alert set up right there. So if that does come up, I will be calling it. And also for right here, I'm currently in this scalp right here, guys. So if you guys saw these scalps from last night, or I guess, yeah, from 3 a.m. this morning, there was a scalp right here, scalp right here. I'll just show you guys. There's a couple right here. There was this main scalp right here. And then it was followed by a couple other stacks right here. This one. Nice, I'm in profit now. And this one right here. Actually, there's 2 right here. So 1 scalp, 2 scalp, 3, 4 scalp. This is the 5th scalp right here. Actually 6 scalps. There's 2 considered right here. 2 scalp entries right here for US 30. I'm currently in this one right here. I missed this one. I wish I would have just waited and entered it late right here, but it's all good. I'm currently in profit off this one. And this is the FTMO parameters. It's only off by 10 pips, guys. It's not a huge difference, but I mean, it is still off. So just keep that in mind. If you are trading on FTMO. The only reason I realized this is because I took this trade and for some reason I was in negative for the longest time until it ended up, you know, I figured out that the pricing was different. So I'll be calling different, I guess, different parameters for US 30 today if I do call the entry. Other than that, let me check out the chat real quick and then we'll see what's going on over here. Let's see. Hey, morning, Saquon. Morning, Matt. Morning, Yadin. Morning, John. Morning, everybody. So happy Monday, guys. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend, but I'm ready to hit the charts. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm currently within this scalp right here. I'm going to let it run. I'm not really going to bother with it, but just another reminder to the people that are just joining the room right now, the pricing for FTMO and pricing for currency.com, which is the data we use here on TradingView, is slightly off. It's only off by 10 pips, but it's still, so don't be confused if you enter a trade and then you see the pricing is like way different. Because I try to put these parameters in my FTMO and it showed that I was too close to my TP. It was going to close me out with like profit somewhere around here because the pricing was a little off. But I'll be using different parameters for the signals today if that becomes the case. So let's see if there's anything else here real quick before we get started. All right, so it looks like we're pretty much good to go. I'm just waiting for this to hit TP right here. So you know, I'll probably just set alerts on this because I'm actually in this trade. Or actually, so this is going to be a little confusing, guys, because I entered right here for FTMO, and let me see how far this difference is right here. Okay, it's not a huge difference. I'll just set the alerts here anyways. I'm about to hit TP right there off my scalp. So this is going to be US 30 scalp number 2. Full TP. I'll just set the alerts for this one as well. Oh, that came up right there. All right, US 30 scalp number 2, southwest hand. And this is going to be 1. Oh, this already hit TP. So the first one hit TP, guys. If you guys took this scalp right here, this hit TP. This next one's about to hit TP as well. Wow, okay, that looks good. So let me just send this update to the group real quick. Let's see. I'm about to hit TP on the other one as well. Let's see. The 3:20 a.m. US 30 scalp just hit full TP plus 500 pips. You guys took that using the K² Now waiting for the second scalp to hit. Nice. There we go, guys. So 2 TPs right there, 2 full TPs. I just hit full TP on this one as well. Let me see if I can pull up my profits here for you guys. Yeah, all right, let me see if I can pull this over. So I took a couple scalps yesterday. So you can see right here, I have what the hell? That's journal. Now I lost connection to the server. Sorry, guys. Let me see if I could. What's going on with this? Man, MC4 is like all over the place. Okay, so you can see right here that I had one trade yesterday where I locked in 946. I had one loss yesterday, the one that I talked about on market open. One loss for 569, another win for 521, and then this win right now currently that I just took full TP right there for 502 in profit. So I'm overall in profit for the day. It's not bad at all. And I'm glad I took that one. So let me just send this other update over here real quick. See what time was this entry taken? 5:30 and TP 12 plus. Took that using all right, cool. So I just hit CP on both of those right there. Or I mean the second one. I didn't take the first one. I did take one the night earlier. So those look good right there. I'll just send this update to the groups real quick, just so that you guys can see which ones I took. All right, not bad. So great way to kick off the trading week, guys. If you guys are using my strategies, obviously the snipe strategy that everyone's using, I think majority of you guys took that trade. If you guys were taking it, see if there's anything else here. Real quick. Nice. Okay. So morning Desbel, morning Spencer, morning Kel. Yeah, Kel mentioned that 62% are short on US 30. I was crazy, right, Kel? Because I think yesterday it was like 85% people were short. Everyone got kicked out of that trade, and now everyone's in the other direction. Nice. Aquan said I hit 3 full TPs. Nice. Congrats, Aquan. Nice. There was one here, one here, or two here and two here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries available if you guys, decided to take these scalp entries right here. And basically what we're looking for here, guys, it's really simple. We're just looking for rejection off here, off the pivot and the structure, rejection off the pivot and structure, same thing. And if you took all these trades right here, you could have had a bunch of back-to-back, full TPs on those. So we'll be looking for more scalps as we continue on, guys. But our 2 scalps right here already hit full TP. So looks good for the most part. Let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing before we continue on. Hey, Kevin, how's it going, bro? Just hopped on and made 36 entering late. Nice, Camo. Yeah, so Camo here just entered this trade late. I think you probably entered like right on here, right? When it was midway, Camo. Looks like you hit full TP off that. So nice work on that for making some profit entering late on there. Hey, morning, Dennis. How's it going, bro? Dennis, say, can we get them likes up for the big homie Shawn? Yeah, definitely, Dennis. If you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. And it'll give me incentive to come live for you guys every morning, right? Because I could pretty much do this on my own without going live, and it'd probably be easier for me to keep away from all the distractions. But I want to go ahead and share these profits with you guys, and I want you guys to profit with me. So if we continue to keep growing this channel, I'll keep going live for you guys. I did mention that we were probably going to take this for the premium members only. But we might do something different. We might continue to do these YouTube lives. I know it's a little delayed, and for the premium members, you guys will just get the direct Zoom link so that you guys can so you guys don't have any delay. So we'll figure out what we're going to do with that, guys, within the next month or so. But I mean, for now, let's focus on these profits. Let's see if there's anything else here real quick. Hey, morning, Hamisi. Morning, Josh. Saquon said, Shawn the fam is blessed to have you, big bro. Yeah, no, definitely, bro. I'm glad that you locked in some profits off that. Morning, Peter. Gregory said, can you look at Nasdaq? So I'll look at Nasdaq right now. Give me a second. I'll pull it up over here. I'll look at Nasdaq first on the higher time frame, and then we'll go down from there. So if you guys are brand new here, you guys will see exactly how I analyze these charts. I take everything off the charts, delete everything, and there's the naked chart right there. For indices, I analyze from the 1 hour because it moves a lot faster than Forex. So I go on the 1 hour here. Here's a naked chart. I turn on the K2SR indicators. And then what I do first is I draw the zones on the chart for you guys so that you guys can see where the rejection points are. So here is Nasdaq right here. Let me finish up these zones right here. One right there. One right there. And I'm just going to connect these two right here because these are kind of, or you know, whatever. I'll just make these smaller ones since we're trying to do a more detailed analysis for Nasdaq. So I think Nasdaq is at an all-time high right now, right? Or close to it. Let me just check real quick. So looking right here, after I've drawn these zones, you guys can see that we have some, you know, perfectly drawn zones here for the Nasdaq. So obviously you can see price bounces from zone to zone. And I think, yeah, it's at an all-time high. It hasn't been at this point at any point in the past. So there's currently no resistance. There's no ceiling right now for Nasdaq. It's currently pushed up pretty high. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator. So looking at this right here, you can see that the drop actually, or the push up started from right here. We had a rejection from this point. We had the buy signal right here, followed by breaking close past structure. So we have a rejection, buy signal indicating a momentum swing upwards, breaking close past structure right here. And then generally when this happens, price pushes up to the next structure right here. When it breaks above the next structure and closes, it does the same thing and pushes up even higher. Same thing again right here. Breaking close past structure, push up higher. It didn't break and close above here, so it rejected back down here for a little retracement. As it pushed up, same pattern again, right? Rejection right here. Buy signal, breaking close past structure, pushed up to this structure up here. And then what do you think happened here? It's the same pattern, right? So you see this pattern right here, rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, push up. Rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, push up. Rejection, buy signal, breaking structure. What happens from there? Push on up, right? So it's the same pattern, just repeating itself. Obviously right here, we have a bullish bias. Until we have, you know, a drop down with the sell signal, then we'll change to the sell bias. But right now we have a bullish bias. So just looking at Nasdaq right now, obviously it's bullish. You know, next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the scalp entries to see if there's any scalps that were available for Nasdaq. So you can see right here that it's actually pretty messy. It's not something that I would trade currently, but looking at the zones over here, let me show you guys real quick. Looking at the zones right here, there was actually a couple entries. So I'll just draw these zones first so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So currently right here, there was a sell entry last night, and then it looks like it shifted from a sell to a buy and then back to a sell, but it's currently spiking around right now for Nasdaq. So just looking at Nasdaq right here, these lower zones right here are kind of relevant because price is too far up. So I'm not really going to draw all these lower zones, but these zones right here are perfectly fine. So yeah, just looking at Nasdaq right here, you can see that we have the rejection off the structure right here. So if you were to take this trade right here, same strategy for the scalp strategy, rejection off structure, rejection off the pivot. And if you did take that trade right there, you would have taken a short position right over here for full TP for about 236 pips right there. I think that's it for that one. It looks like there's another scalp entry right here. So if you took this scalp right here as well, so you could scalp in both ways, guys. You don't just scalp one way. Right here was the sell, right here was the buy. So we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. You would take a long position right here to full TP right there for the same amount. So that's pretty much that right there. Currently for Nasdaq, there's no entries because you need the rejection off the pivot and the structure. And you need to make sure that the pivot that it rejects off doesn't touch the body. So currently right here, price is just spiking back and forth until price ends up pushing upwards or pushing downwards. Then for example here, if it pushes up this way, we would wait for it to come back down, test the structure and the pivot somewhere around this area. And then when that happens, we would take a long position, right? There's obviously no entry available right now. If that happens, that's what we would take. If it ends up swinging below, then we would just wait for it to swing back up to test the pivot and the structure over here. And then we would just take a sell instead, right? So until that happens, there's not going to be any entries available. But yeah, it looks like some scalps here from last night. If you guys took the scalps for Nasdaq, they would have hit full TP in both directions. Obviously, there's an entry right here, and obviously there's an entry right here. And there's technically more entries right here as well if you guys wanted to take that. But like I mentioned, it's kind of risky on market open right here, 6 o'clock. So that's pretty much it for Nasdaq. Let's see if there's anything else to look at in the questions before we continue on. All right, so we have a pending buy here for, why didn't I get the alert? You have to turn off, I do not disturb on. All right, so I turned that off right there. I think I had my alert set off, so it didn't give me the alert that this buy signal appeared right here. I'll be looking at it right now and to see, if there's an entry that's available for it. Otherwise we will just wait for the next entry. That's weird, yeah, because I did get the alerts right here, but it didn't show up on my screen. So let me just go back to US 30 real quick. Yeah, it looks good so far. I'm just waiting for this to close right here. We have about 3 minutes left. I'll wait for this to close and then I'll answer some more questions for you guys. See, I'm gonna take this off because we already have full TP off that. About 3 minutes left on this candle. Once it closes, we can analyze it for a buy if that ends up being the entry. So let me just set it up over here real quick for the premium members. If you guys are looking to enter this. All right. We got about 2 minutes left on this candle. Once it closes, I'll call this entry. For the premium members, if you guys aren't in premium, you guys obviously won't get the parameters, but you guys can follow along if you guys want to. We got about 2 minutes left on this. I'll be waiting for it. If it does close, I'll call it a signal. If it doesn't, we'll be waiting for the next one. See what else is over here real quick. We're just waiting for this to close out real quick. If it doesn't close out, we'll wait for the next signal. But currently, we're just waiting for this one to close so we can take this entry right here. If you guys aren't familiar with the US 30 strategy for the daily off the New York session, basically what we do is we wait for the market to open right here at 6:30, and then we take the first valid K2 signal as soon as the market opens so that we can ride momentum up in that direction. One thing that Kel was mentioning before was the IG sentiment. So generally, we like to look at the IG sentiment for US 30. This basically shows where all the retail traders are trading with regards to, whatever asset we're trading. So right here, for example, 66% of people are short for US 30. This is kind of risky because last night it was 85%. And then obviously they pushed price up to spike everyone out, right? To stop everyone out who was in that short position. Now people are shifting to the buy position. So it becomes a little dangerous because if there's more people entering a buyer's market for US 30, it's not going to be a smooth move up. It's probably going to spike up and down, and it's going to be really risky with regard to, the direction of price, because obviously price generally goes where the minority is, not where the majority are, because the banks and institutions don't make money off these people if they end up pushing it where everybody's trading, right? But this looks fine right here. If this ends up closing, we could still take this trade right here. But let me just go ahead and move this up to there. So yeah, it looks like this one's about to close up. We got about 30 seconds left. I'm going to wait for this to finish off before we move forward. But if it does close, we'll have an entry here for US 30. And I'll probably just keep scalping it up as well as it continues to push up. So we got about 20 seconds left on this candle. Let's see if there's anything else. We got about 15 seconds. Doesn't look like it's going to close, guys. It just depends on how it pushes on the last 10 seconds. We have about 10 seconds left on this candle. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you guys can enter right now if you guys want to. There you go. So if you guys want to enter that trade, feel free. I'm currently in the buy already. So I'm in this trade, guys. If you guys want to take it, I'm currently in it. Entered it on my FTMO account. So let me just call this trade real quick for you guys. And then premium if you guys are in there. So there's no buy stop. It's just a buy because I'm already in the trade. If you guys want to enter it. Entry point right there. TP2 right there. There. TP1. All right, so we're good off that. Let me just get the FTMO real quick because the pricing is a little different. It's not that big of a difference, but it is different. So just for you guys here, I will I'll give it to you guys just in case. So let me enter this long right here. I'm just gonna enter the parameters that are on my 31355. Yeah, guys, it's not a huge difference, but I know we're gonna get some people in the group asking about this. So I'll just send two different parameters here for you guys. And keep in mind, guys, this is gonna be a bumpy road. It's not gonna be a smooth move upwards. Just like I mentioned, the sentiment is moving, so it's a little off. But yeah, I think that should be it right there. So I'm just gonna set up the alerts real quick. TP1. Daily TP1 750. The pricing off a little bit. Let me see. I think I might have moved it slightly. Or no, it's fine. Okay, no, sorry, it's my bad. It's only off by like a pip. So like I mentioned for FTMO, guys, it's only off by a little bit. It's not a huge difference. Let me see the pricing on here. Yeah, it's only off by like 10 pips. Not a big difference. But for you guys to do that, want to be exact, I mean, it's fine. New York daily. 100. So I'm setting up the alerts right here, guys, so that we can be alerted when targets are hit. All right. So the daily entry is all set up right there. I'll be looking for some scalp entries as well. So I do expect it to bounce around for a bit. So if it does come down, right here, it's probably gonna come down, test the structure, or it might come down to here, test the structure, and then bounce back up. So I'm not too worried if it's gonna be bouncing around because that's just how it's gonna move for today. Especially because the sentiment, people are moving from short positions to long positions because it was 85% short last night. Everyone who was short got stopped out, obviously. So now now people are shifting to a buy. So we'll see how this plays out. Otherwise, we will, I mean, this is going to be a long ride. I'm just going to be holding on to this, not really playing around with it, and then letting it play out. So I think we're done right now with US 30. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at everything else so far. So let me just pull up, actually, let me look at the 30-minute here, because I know a lot of you guys like trading the 30-minute as well. So yeah, it looks like there was a couple entries here on the 30-minute as well. If you guys were scalping this on the 30-minute, I know some of you guys do. I don't know if CT, if you're in here, but I'm looking at it on the 30-minute right now. I know you like to trade it on the 30-minute. So if you guys were trading this on the 30-minute, it looks like there's a bunch of entries right here as well. It looks like there's actually 3 entries right here. We have 1, 2, 3. If you were to take these trades, looks like that would hit full TP right there for about 800 pips. The next one right here, this would have hit full TP for about 800 pips. And then again, right here, this one would have hit full TP as well. So 3 full TPs for about 800 pips each. Not bad at all. If you were scalping this on the 30-minute. So it doesn't matter if you're scalping US 30 using my strategy on the 30-minute, on the 10-minute, or on the 15-minute, I believe as well. It looks like they both would have hit pretty nicely. So I'll be leaving this alone for now. Let me go ahead and take a look at the other questions in the chat before we continue to move on forward. So let me pull up the chat real quick. See what else is here. Billion Mindset said, hit the like, guys. All 78 of us, don't be grimy, guys. Yeah, no, definitely. If you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. And I'll continue to give you guys these trades live, and I'll show you guys my live analysis each day. Our main goal here is just to grow this channel, guys. Obviously, we're trying to help other people who need help with trading, and I'm here every morning answering questions. And we just want to extend that help to whoever wants help. So if you guys keep liking the stream, it'll help us grow the channel, and it'll incentivize me to continue coming live for you guys to trade and answer questions. So just keep that in mind. Let's see what else we have over here as well. That's funny. Yeah, City said can't be that hard to hit the like button. Squan said word. Everybody hit the like button. Definitely. Thanks guys for reminding me. I always forget to remind people to do that. But it definitely helps the channel. So Patricia said, Shawn, on US 30, are you using 1 hour time frame for the zones as well? Not at all, Patricia. I only use the 1 hour to show you guys the long-term analysis. So that's why I analyze this on the bigger chart, but I don't necessarily use these zones when I'm trading. I use if you're scalping on the 10-minute, use the 10-minute. If you're scalping on the 30-minute, use the 30-minute. I don't use these zones for my actual trading. I just use this to show you guys the bigger picture of how everything is moving. Let's see. City said, make the live private. 70 plus people don't have working like buttons. I know, definitely, City. I mean, if that's the case, guys, if you guys don't want to like the video, it's fine, because majority of people here are in the premium anyways. So if we do move this to the premium, I mean, that's pretty much what's going to happen. But if you guys want me to keep showing up here on the public, then, just go ahead and like the video, and I'll continue to come live for you guys. So let's see. Funky wants me to take a look at DAX, the DAX 30. So let me pull up DAX 30 real quick. So looking at the DAX here, I'll just analyze it again from the top-down analysis. I'll go from the 1 hour, and then from the 1 hour, I'll go down to the shorter time frames where I actually trade. This is just to get the bigger picture, guys. I don't necessarily trade indices on the higher time frame because they move too fast, right? If you're trading this on the higher time frame, you're going to be risking a lot with these trades. And if you guys know me, I don't like taking unnecessary risk. I just like to take trades that I'm almost certain are going to hit TP. So that's why I don't trade on these higher time frames. I'd rather just scalp within and then make my money, get out of the trade, and then keep scalping within it to keep stacking from there. So let's see, here's the DAX. All right, so looking at the DAX here, I think, is this also at all-time high? Let me just check real quick, because it seems like it is, possibly. Yeah, so once I've drawn my zones there, turn that off, and then let me just check where we're at for the DAX. Yeah, it looks like the DAX is at an all-time high, so there's no zones up in this area. So just looking at the DAX here, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the momentum indicator. Pretty much the same analysis from before, right? You guys can see here that it keeps playing out. It's the same pattern that I keep showing you guys that just plays out time and time again. So like, for example, right here, we have the rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. Price broken close past structure right here. And then what happened from that point? It pushed up, right? From here, pushed up to here. Same situation again right here, rejection. Buy signal breaking close past structure. Push back up right here, right? Right here, there's no rejection. So I'm not sure how strong this would push up from this point. I mean, it's the same pattern basically where there's a slight rejection off this point. And then the buy signal right here, if it does close, it might push up slightly, but we don't know how far that's going to push up for, right? It could push up, it can push down, who knows? But yeah, just looking at the DAX right here, it's a little uncertain, like with regard to where it's going to be going. But obviously we have a bullish bias because we have a pending buy signal that's pending off this candle right here. So the momentum up is pretty strong. That's why it only indicates that this is a retracement, because obviously you can see right here, price pushed up, sell signal, retracement, then it shot back up, pushed up, sell signal, retracement, reject off the structure, push back up. Same situation right here, rejection, fall from here, sell signal. It should have rejected off this structure right here, but it didn't. So I think this might come back down from this point. It might come down further right here, test structure. Once it tests structure, it'll either bounce off this point or it'll continue dropping from that point right here. but we'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. You know, if this candle closes, it'll make a difference. But we have an hour left on this candle, so we won't know until an hour from now how this is going to move. If it doesn't close, likely it's going to come down from this point. After analyzing this on the 1 hour, I'll go down to the 10-minute to show you guys the scalps, if there's any scalps available here. So let me just go ahead and pull up the DAX on this chart over here. Let's see. So let's pull up the German DAX right over here. So just looking at the DAX right here, let's see if there was any entries last night that you guys could have, you know, possibly taken. So obviously there's one entry right here. So there's one entry right there. A couple more zones right here. I'll just draw these zones real quick. And you guys can see that this strategy works. I mean, it works fine with anything really. You don't have to use it with like one indice. You can use it for Forex. You can use it for commodities. You can use it for anything. So for example, right here, if you took these trades last night on the 7th, which is when the market reopened. So we had 2 rejections off this point right here. And then if I just rewind it to, you know, wherever this was. So for example, right here, you see the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. If you took this long position right here, that'd be good right there. Again, right here as well. So that would have hit full TP right there. And then again, there's another entry right here where this green candle rejects off the structure and the pivot right there. So if you took this position here as well, I mean, obviously that hit full TP again right there, right? So 2 full TPs there for the DAX. And then just looking at where price currently is right now, it looks like there was a bunch of entries right here as well. So if we mark this up right here, there was a scalp entry for a sell right there. Also another scalp entry right here. Yeah, so if you were to play this back right here, if you took this right here, because there's a rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure right there. If you took that short position right there, obviously that hit TP. And then again, for this one over here as well, this would have hit TP as well right there. 2 entries for about 300 pips each. And they both hit full TP right there, right? So pretty simple. There's actually a couple more entries right here. So those are 2 entries right there. Same thing again right here. We have the rejection off the pivot for both of these, this red and green candle right here. So if you saw those right there, obviously these 2 would hit full TP as well. So we have the rejection point right there, and then another one right there as well. So if you took those 2, obviously full TP. And another one right here. So you guys can see that this scalp strategy works very well with all indices. It's not just US 30. It works well with everything. And going back to our US 30 over here, we're in profit. So it looks good so far. So going back to the DAX again, also another entry right here for a short position if you decided to take that. And then that hit full TP again right there as well. So you guys can see here that this strategy works very well, not just with US 30 or not just Nasdaq. It works with literally everything. So these all would have hit full TP. Again, right now for the DAX, there was another entry right here, actually, this green one. So you can see that this rejected off the pivot, rejected off the structure. So if you took this entry right here, it's technically still active on its way to TP right there. So I'll just delete these. Obviously, you guys can see how these hit. And for the new people here, if you guys want access to this, you guys can access them on the website. Just go to k2trades.com, click on KT strategy course right here, and you can get access to these indicators and the strategy so that you guys can apply this on your own. I don't know if I posted the profits for everyone this week so far, but I think we had a couple. So yeah, CSUK over here locked in about 583, scalping, using the same strategy I just discussed right here. He just traded US 30, made some profit off that. So I think these are double. So I'll just delete this right quick. And pretty much everyone else here as well. So like Kia over here, I think she was trading ETH. She was trading Ethereum, crypto. She scalped that, made some profit off that. She's trying to grow a $2 account. So that's not bad. I mean, she went from $2 to now $5 in profit, right? Her equity is $7. That's not bad. Because if it was a bigger account, she'd make way more. Spencer over here also scalped, made about a couple $100. Mark over here, US 30 as well. CSUK as well. He likes to scalp US 30. So you can see right here, he scalps US 30 using the same strategy. He has straight wins right here. Total of 3,900 in profit. And again, on his other account, about 1,400 here as well. You know, he has like one loss, but it covers like with the other scalps as well. So for the most part, it looks good. And this is available to you guys if you guys want it. Just go on the website and get access. Otherwise, you know, you guys can also just hang around and see my trades as well. So US 30 looks fine. It's back at entry. Let me see if there's any scalp entries for the US 30. Not yet. So we're still waiting for it to come back down, which is fine because we're going for the big move here and we're also trying to get these scalps. I took both just so that I wouldn't miss out on any of these profits. So I'm currently in the full position, the daily entry, and I'm also looking to scalp as well if it comes back down for an entry. So let me see if there's anything else here real quick. Here, let me just scroll up real quick and see if I missed anything else over here. All right, so Funky, I looked at DAX for you. You also wanted silver, ZAG USD. So I'll take a look at silver real quick, and then we will we'll continue on with that. So I'll look at silver on the bigger time frame first. For silver, I'll actually go on the 4 hour because it is a slow. I mean, it's not super slow moving, but it is a lot slower than other pairs. So this is one that Josh actually likes to use. So he trades this, or he went over it on the his Sunday strategy, and it actually works pretty well. So just looking at silver right here, I'll do the same thing I always do. First off, I'll be drawing these zones on the chart for you guys. So for example, right here, draw these zones. All right. So silver looks a little messy. With the zones, it just looks like it has a lot of, the rejection points are very close. So a lot of these overlap, which is fine. I mean, I don't normally trade silver, so I'm not really too concerned with it. But yeah, just looking at silver right here, price is currently right here. We just drew the zones today on September 7th. You can see that it's been testing this whole area. It's been ranging within this area since July of last year. So July 2020, it's been within the same range. Other than that, I think the last time it was in this area was back in July. Yeah, there's nothing else here. I'm back in 2015. Price was way below. So price was just ranging down here from like 2017 up until 2020. And then it finally shot up right here. And it's currently above here now. So just looking at current price, this isn't I mean, it's been testing this area for a couple months now, or about 6 months, 6 or 7 months, July. So with that said, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. And it's the same pattern I've been showing you guys, right? It's the same exact thing that I showed you for every other pair I looked at, you know, rejection from this point, buy signal, it broke and closed past the structure. And then what happened from that point? It shot up, right? Same situation right here. We have another rejection off here. Buy signal right here. What we're looking for next is for price to break and close past the structure right here. Once this happens and it breaks and closes, then we can take another long position for there. For the longer term move, just keep in mind this is a longer term move. This is on the 4 hour. So this is what I see for the bigger picture for silver. If I go to the shorter time frames and look for some scalps, there's probably some better entries here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up right here. Look at silver. So guys, obviously, you know, price is spiking around a lot. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So like right here, I'm not even going to bother looking at US 30. You know, I know a lot of you guys are probably asking questions, you know, if it's still good or not. It's perfectly fine. Just don't focus on something that's like, there's not really much to focus on because it's going to keep bouncing back and forth. So just looking at silver right here on the scalps. Let's see. Yeah, looking at these right here, looks like there were quite a bit of scalps that were available here if you guys were scalping this last night. So I don't scalp this, but I know there's other people in the group that do scalp this. So if you guys did catch this using the same strategy I've been teaching you guys for like the past couple of weeks now, or past couple of months actually, you guys could have caught a lot of these moves here. So I'm not gonna go too far down because price is way up here. I'm just gonna leave these zones alone, and I'll just show you guys some examples for where price provided some entries recently. So like for example, right here, if you traded on the 7th, so let's see. I mean, we'll just block it off from here. So for example, right here, if you took any of these entries, so like right here, there was, here's the most recent one. Okay, so right here, there's, let's see, trying to find one right here. All right, so for example, right here, if you took the same strategy that, I've been discussing, rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure, any of these 3 entries right here, let's see, there's 1, 2, yeah, maybe just 1 or 2 entries right here. This one right here for sure would have been an entry. This one right here, possibly. So rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. You can see it rejects off this yellow pivot right here for this one and off the structure. So if you took that trade right there, you took a long position, that would have hit full TP right there for about 133 pips. And then again, right here for this one, if you decided to take that trade, this would have hit full TP again right there for another 133 pips. So just looking at silver right here, obviously it's in a strong uptrend. What would you want is we would want price to come down, test the structure, and then come back up. So like, for example, I'd have to test somewhere down here with a wick rejection because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the wick rejection off the pivot and off the structure. If both of those are met, you can take an entry for another scalp position. But until that happens, we're just going to be waiting for this to, play out. And until then, there's just no entry available at this time. So that's pretty much what we're waiting for here. No biggie for that. But obviously there's no entry available at this time. If you took this one down here at about 5:10 a.m., which is about 2 hours ago, obviously you would have had 2 full TPs right here for that, and another one for that one right there. But until there's another entry, there's nothing to look at this point. We would just be waiting for it to come back down to retest the pivot in the structure before taking another buy. So that's it for silver right there. Let me see if there's anything else before we continue. Funky, I already looked over gold. I'm not sure if you saw my gold analysis earlier, but I mean, I guess I could look at it again if that's what you guys want me to look at. So I'll just reanalyze what I looked at earlier. There's no point in me redoing everything. I think you were here earlier, Funky, so I'm not sure if you saw it, but I'll just go back to gold real quick. Or actually, I didn't analyze it on the bigger time frame. I analyzed it for the scalp. So what I'll do first is I'll go ahead and analyze this from the from where price currently is. Let me just update the zones real quick to see if there's any new zones in within this area. All right, so there's actually a lot of zones here that are new. So let me just delete everything off the chart. I'll analyze this from scratch, and then we can go ahead and pull this up. So here's the naked chart, obviously, for gold. What I do first, same thing for any other pair. If I'm trading Forex, trading indices, trading gold, doesn't matter. I'll look up the zones first. So I'll pull up the zones right here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw these zones on the chart for you guys. So we got that right there. That right there, a big zone right here. A big zone right there. And this actually connects down here. So this is just one big zone. So just looking at price currently for gold, these are the zones that we've drawn. So if I zoom out from this point, you guys can see that these big blocks of zones are actually pretty important because price is currently right here. I just drew these zones from today, right? So if you go back, these same zones have been tested back in November, back in October, September, August, all the way back until July. So price initially broke into this area in July. It broke above, retested below, bounced back up, retested the low right here in November. So it broke above, came back below it, then it swung back up. And then again, right here, it's doing the same pattern, right? So you see where it broke down below and then it swung back up. Same thing right here, it swung below and then it swung right back up. So just looking at current price for gold, I'm going to pull up the momentum indicator so that we can determine, the direction of momentum. And it's the same thing that I've been analyzing earlier, right? So we have a rejection here. Obviously, there's no zone below, but we'll just use this as an imaginary zone down here. So rejection off this point, we have the buy signal right here. We have price pushing up. What I'd be looking for here is for price to break and close past this structure right here. If this happens right here, this is going to confirm a bullish confirmation, and I take a long position from there. But until this happens, I'm not really going to be waiting for anything because, like, for example, over here, you can see the same pattern played out again. So right here, rejection. Right here, a buy signal. And then the following candle right here next to it, it broke and closed past structure, right? Once that happened, long position right there. And then obviously, you probably would have exited at that point somewhere at this point. Because you'd have to wait for this to, like whenever price breaks the structure, you just try to catch it to the next structure up here. Like that right there for about 100 pips. So that's what you'd be looking for right there. And then when price breaks above this structure again, it pushes up here, right? So in order for us to take another entry, we need it to break above here, which it failed to do so. No entry off that point, right? For example, right here, we have the rejection, buy signal, wait for it to break structure right here. Then we take a long position to the next structure above there. If it does the same thing again right here, same pattern, it's just repeating itself. If it breaks and closes past there, it pushes up again. And then same situation right here. If it breaks above it and closes, then you can keep riding it up. If it doesn't, then it'll just reject back down again. So same thing right there for gold. That's pretty much what I see happening here. That's what I see on the 4-hour. If I go on the 10-minute for some scalps, I did analyze this earlier, so I think they're still there. Yeah. So basically, right here, same situation. We're looking for, if you're looking for scalps here, there was quite a few entries that were available this morning. So if you guys have the indicators, obviously you guys will have access to take these trades. If not, you guys can just follow my live sessions and try to copy my trades as I go. But like I mentioned, I don't trade everything. I mainly just trade US 30. So if you guys want to trade other assets, you guys can. You guys just need to apply it on your own, which is not that difficult, right? Everyone in K2 uses the same strategy and does pretty well with it. So I don't see any problem with you guys applying it yourself. People have been applying this for like months now and have been killing it day in, day out. So if you look at like what I do is I record everyone's profits here, right? All the K2 members' profits. And most of these profits here are, they're not from my trades. They're from taking them on their own. Like, for example, we have profits here from today. If I scroll up to a random date, like the 28th, right? We have these right here. Josh took these scalps right here on his own. So huge profit right there for Josh. Cheryl over here, she doesn't take much of my trades. She takes some of them sometimes if she's here, but most of the time she trades on her own, and you can see her profits right here as well. So most of these profits here are not from my trades. They're from people taking their own trades. And honestly, people here are making more profit than me in some instances, right? So this just goes to show, if you learn the strategy and you do it yourself, you can make a lot more profit than just sitting here and copying my trades. So just looking at gold right here, we had a scalp entry off this point where price rejected off the pivot and off the structure. And just for you guys' knowledge, this is the K2 pivots, these 4 lines right here, and this is the K2 SR zones, these structures down here. So if you guys were to have these indicators, you guys could have identified this buy right here for a nice TP for about 500 pips. And then again down here, if you wanted to take more entries, you can literally take these in both directions. Again, right here, we have a rejection for a sell. So if you took a sell right here, this would be another, Edward, I just saw your message. Let me just turn this on Do Not Disturb. Ed was asking me if I wanted to buy some furniture. Yeah, I might be down for some furniture, Ed. I don't know if you're in this live session, but if you are, yeah, I'm probably down for some furniture if you have something good. I'll message you later to see. I need to get some new office furniture anyways. So yeah, if you guys are trading gold, if you took this sell right here, rejection off the pivot, off the structure, full TP right there, and then same situation down here, rejection off the pivot and the structure, full TP in that direction as well. So if you wanted to trade, obviously if you wanted to trade gold, it would work perfectly fine right here as well. So let me see if there's anything else as we continue over here. Ron Mexico over here. Ron Mexico on the INDICES. Hey David, you're at work right now? I'm assuming because you're using the oh nice, yeah. So Ed has a discount at Wayfair. Yeah, I'm gonna message. All right, cool. Ed, thanks for that, bro. So Ed's gonna get me some furniture, some new office furniture from Wayfair. So yeah, that looks cool. All right. So just looking at this, I just looked at gold. Let me pull back US 30 real quick. It's currently at about, entry point for US 30. I'm still looking for some scalps here. If we could catch any. Fuck me. Okay, so I missed this right here, guys. All right, so there's another scalp right here. Sorry, guys. If you guys want to take this scalp, there's another entry right here. I might want to retake this again. Let me just see if I can. If it pulls back down, I'll enter it. But yeah, there's another scalp entry right here, guys. If you guys do want to take it, I haven't taken it yet. I might take it right now, actually. So the reason for the scalp entry is we have the rejection off the pivot and the structure right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and see if there's any other structures in this area. That's about it. So it looks good for the most part. I might enter this trade right here for another scalp. All right, so I entered another trade here for a scalp. If you guys want to enter it with me, I'm currently in the trade. So let me just make sure that the parameters are proper for my FTMO, because I know they're slightly different. It's not a huge difference, but they are slightly different. My entry was 31337. So it's only off by a little bit, guys. But if you guys do want to enter this trade, this is technically the entry. These are going to be my parameters for FTMO, because I'm currently in the position already. Let me just modify that. Stop loss is 31387. TP is going to be 31287. Why are the numbers so off? I don't know what's wrong with MT4, but it's not letting me set my TP stop loss. 3-1. Oh no, okay, sorry, my bad. I put the opposite numbers. That's why, no doubt. 31287, and TP is going to be 31387. All right, so it's good for the most part. But I'll just be following this one because this is the actual entry for it. So I'll just set some alerts here. US 30 scalp, number 1, TP, and then, and I just set these alerts, guys, so I know exactly what's going on with my positions, even though I'm not watching them. All right, so I took that scalp there. I mean, it's up to you guys if you guys want to take it. It is a bit of a risky trade, but I'm currently in the buy already for the long position here as well. So I'm basically scalping within it, right? So I'm trying to get this full position here. I'm also trying to scalp within it right here. So I'm taking 2 buys off this in the direction of our full daily entry. So that's it for that right there. Let me see if there's anything else to look at before we continue on. Yeah, fortunately back at work, right, David? See if there's anything else here before I continue on. See, Trell said, I think it's because you changed your settings to alert once per bar close. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, thanks for reminding me about that, Trell. So let me just check this real quick because I'm not getting any alerts here for this. Oh, no, it says once per bar. Yeah, I'm not sure why the alerts aren't going off, but it's cool. It's, I mean, I'm still following this for the most part. Wait, what happened to all my drawings? Oh, okay. Wait, no, that's weird. Okay, never mind. Because I was looking at a different chart. I was like, because I pulled up US 30 on here and there was no drawings on it, and now I see that they're on the other page. All right, cool. So that's it for that one right there. Let's see if there's anything else before we continue on. Hey, morning, Vishnu. Indra said, Shawn, US 30 at 003 was a valid sell signal. So let me see. Indra had mentioned this sell signal for US 30 at midnight my time. So let's see, midnight. Yeah, so this was actually a valid sell right here. Indra, let me see if there was news last night. I don't think there was. yeah, so there wasn't any news. This was a valid entry right there. Looks like this would have hit stop loss. So that's why, so I know you're familiar with how I trade the scalps, Indra. So basically this would have been a sell entry right here because we had the rejection off the pivot right here. So if you took this trade right here, this would have hit stop loss, and then you would have just taken the next one. So that would have hit stop right there. And then you would have avoided any more sell entries. So no more sell entries from this point. You would have taken the buy as it retraced to this point right here for this rejection. So you would have taken the loss there. You would have taken this buy right here, and then you would have covered that loss because this one would have hit TP. And then you would have just kept taking these other scalps right here as well. So yeah, this one right here at midnight was a loss if you took this scalp entry, but then you would have taken the next one as it swung above. Because obviously, if you guys are familiar with how I scalp, if I take trades in one direction, if it hits a stop loss, I take a break. I wait for it to flip to the other direction. So right here, if we took this sell and this loss, I would have waited, then waited for it to swing above here, took this buy, and then would have hit full TP here. And then I would just keep taking all these buys here. So like full TP right there off that buy. The same one I took this morning, full TP off this one right here as well. So I just keep taking buys, right? I just keep stacking on these buys. So another win right there, full TP. You know, a couple other wins right here as well. One right there, and then two right here. And then again, the one I just took right here. Another entry right here as well. So I would just keep taking these until they stop hitting. Once they stop hitting, then I just wait for them to swing down. And then I end up taking sells from this direction as well. So like scalping is like literally never ending, guys. If you guys see some buys, you'll take buys. If it swings back for a sell, you take some sells. And then you just pretty much cover your losses when you take that one loss. And then you just continue on with your trades in whatever direction as you continue trading. So that's pretty much how I would have traded it. But yeah, Indra, this would have been a valid entry here as well. But it would have been fine because if you took all these other entries over here, so there's one entry there. I think if you took these other ones over here, like this one, so if you took that right there, that would have hit full TP, right? So full TP right there, and then again over here, there's a couple other entries. There's another one right here. There's two right here actually, or three. If you take these right here, these would be another full TP. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, and then you'd have one loss. You switch over to the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins here. So you'd have like, I mean, like you probably have like 10 or 12 wins and then 2 losses right here. So you would have offset this trade right here. But that's why if you're trading, guys, if you guys are scalping, you guys have to take all of these trades. You can't like take a break for too long because you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities right here. Obviously, like the trades I took this morning, I hit full TP for like these two over here. And now I'm taking this one right here. So I'm just pretty much stacking these wins up until it ends up, you know, switching in the other direction, which happens. You know, it's normal for price to shift in the other direction, and then you just scalp in that direction as well. So let me see if there's anything else here. Mercibah mentioned US 30 at an all-time high. Let's see. So it might be, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked at the all-time high, but that doesn't really stop me from wanting to take more trades for US 30. Because even though it breaks the all-time high, it can keep pushing even higher. So looking at US 30 right here, yeah, it is at the all-time high, I believe, right? So let me just take everything off the chart. Yeah, looking at US 30, it's definitely at the all-time high right here. But the momentum up is so strong, it'll probably continue to push up. Because so see what's happening here is if you look at the IG sentiment, that's the problem with the analysis if you guys are looking at it from that perspective. Because if you're looking at it as an all-time high and you're scared to take the buy, if you look at the IG sentiment right here, you can see that a lot of people are thinking the same thing, right? 66% of people are short US 30. The reason for people going short is because everyone's like, oh, it's an all-time high. It's got to drop, right? That's the complete opposite could probably happen because if everyone keeps entering these sell positions right here, you think the market makers and institutions are going to let price go down? Probably not, because these people will make profit. The way that market makers and institutions make money is they trade the opposite of what retail traders are doing. That's why we don't trade the same way everyone else does. You know, while everyone's looking at this all-time high here, I'm still taking buys because this is probably going to keep pushing up even further to stop these people out, right? Because there's so many people that are short right here. You know, obviously, if the market makers and institutions push the market short, they're going to make less money because there's 44% of people are long. So if they try to stop everyone else that's long, then they're not going to make as much money. If they stop all these people out right here that are short, they're going to make way more money because they're going to be stopping out more people and they can take over their position. So what they'll do is they'll short them, they'll spike price up, and then they'll just take over their positions when they decide to drop it. But right now, the sentiment is pretty high. So if this drops to like maybe 60%, maybe 55%, then I could probably see it dropping. But I think currently right now, it's probably going to keep pushing up further and further until they stop out more people. Because if you think about it, if people are entering short positions right here, where their stop loss is going to be? Their stop loss is probably going to be about like, I don't know, a max like 1,000 pips maybe, or maybe 2,000 pips. So for example, if you're looking at it from that perspective, price would need to push up this point to stop those people out, right? So that's perfect for us because our TPs are right there. See our TPs right here? Since these are our TPs, this is exactly where we want price to go. We want price to come up, hit our TPs, then we exit the position. Then we just wait for another entry, right? So we're not going for that home run. We just want to hit our TPs. We get out of the trade, we wait for another entry, then we take that entry. But yeah, I mean, there's 66% of people short right here. They're not going to push price down. They're going to keep pushing it up because they want to stop all those people out. Like if you think about it, people's stop losses are here, and then people's like their farther stop losses are probably up here, like 2,000 pips, right? So if you keep that in mind, this will give you a little framework as to where price is likely to go, because you got to see where people are putting their stop losses. If their stop losses are somewhere around here, then that's probably where price is going to go. Because I'm sure you guys have been victim of that, where price hits your stop loss, and then what happens after that? It drops right away, right? So that's why we put our TPs and stop losses in key positions, because we want to make sure to get in and out of these positions when we can. And we don't want to get caught in any of that noise, right? We just want to get in, out, make our money real quick, and then do the same thing over and over again. We don't want to be holding on to these home run hits where your risk is just too high. So that's pretty much what we're looking for at US 30 right now. It's currently like right below entry, but I think this is going to spike up at some point. It's just going to spike up to stop everyone out. That is short US 30 right now. So just keep that in mind, guys. Other than that, I think that's about it for US 30. Let me see if there's anything else to look at before we continue on. So let's see. Ezra said, guys, please like this webinar because nobody does it like K2. Thanks, Shawn. Keep the fire burning, sir, and keep the pips growing. Yeah, definitely, Ezra. I'll keep coming on here and giving you guys free trades, and I'll just share my analysis with you guys every day. The only thing I really ask here is for you guys to like the stream so that we can continue to find new people that want to learn, obviously, because, it's hard to find people that actually trade live like I do here every day. I do this every single day, just trade live, show you guys my trades, show you guys my profits, and, best of all, show everyone else's profits. Like I prefer to show everyone profits, like show everyone else's profits rather than mine, because, anyone can show their own profits. Like whoever runs a trading channel, they can show their own profits. But what really matters is when you show other people's profits who are actually trading the same thing you're trading, right? Because it just shows that something actually works. And I have months and months of profits here from everybody. Like this is February 6th, and we could scroll all the way up to like January, like randomly in the middle of January, let's just stop at the 21st. Cheryl, 900 pips in profit. We scroll up even higher, the 11th, some more profits right here from Mark, right? Like I prefer to show you guys profits of people within K2 rather than mine, because I can show you guys my profits too. Like this is everyone's profits. And then if I wanted to show you my own profits, I just go here and I'll show you all my profits here as well, right? It's like anyone can show their own profits, but when you show other people's profits, that's where it really matters, because you can see that other people are actually profiting, and it's not just one person that's profiting off my trades. So, that's that, guys. Let me see if there's anything else here as we continue. Saquon said, Shawn, can you explain what happens if you get a candle that has two strong wicks and rejects off two zones? How would you trade it? So Saquon, this is an example that I was going over the other day with Indra. So me and Indra were talking about how when price rejects off 2 points, I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, Saquon, but I think that might be what you're referring to. So for example, here, let me just take everything off the chart. I know there was an entry for US 30. Oh, the one last night, the one that I lost. So that's the one that I kind of screwed up on because I wasn't looking at it properly. So for example, here, me and Indra were looking at this, this candle that actually rejected off 2 points. It was last night. I'm trying to think, where was it? It was somewhere over here where we took one trade and it was supposed to, we should have skipped it. So let me just draw these zones real quick and I'll see if I can find it. Because I know me and Indra looked at it last night and actually discussed it during the live session yesterday for when this happens, to just avoid the trade rather than risk it, because it can go in both ways. It confirms an entry for both a buy and a sell. And there's just really a lot of uncertainty, with regard to which direction it actually moves. So let me just see if I could find it real quick. I know it was like a doji candle. It was kind of rejecting off both points. Yeah, so I think it's this one right here. Sorry, let me just go back to here. This was, no, that was this morning. I know it was last night because it was like the first loss we had for the week, but we bounced back and had a full TP on the next one. I think it was this right here. Okay. So let me just go back over here real quick and replay this candle right here. So let me just fix this right here. I'm just going to make this a little, there we go. And I'll just delete these because these are relevant for this analysis here. So the only relevant zones for this specific candle entry right here would be these two. So for example, right here, you can see that this green candle right here, there's two entries because it rejected off this point and it also rejected off this point right here. So technically this would have been a sell if you took it here, and it also would have been a buy if you took it right here as well, because there's a double entry. So if this happens right here where you have a double entry, I would just skip this trade. This was my bad because I wasn't paying attention to the top right here. I thought it was coming down. So what happened was I entered a short position right here and it went slightly in profit before it ended up reversing. So if I, paid more attention and I was able to analyze this from a, proper perspective, looking at this from a double rejection, I would have just skipped this trade. However, I didn't look at this top area. I just looked at this bottom area right here. So with that said, it ended up dropping in profit and then it ended up reversing super hard and hitting stop loss, right? So that's the first loss that I took yesterday. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So yeah, that's the loss that I took yesterday right here. So you can see I had a win for like 946 and then I had a small loss right here for 569. So that's the trade that I took right here. Unfortunately, that was my bad. I took that trade and I ended up losing. But I ended up making it right back. So I took that loss right there and then I ended up catching the next buy or whatever I took. What did I take? The sell, I think, actually. So for example, right here, I ended up taking that loss and then I ended up taking, I forgot what I took. I took a sell, I think, or something like that. Oh yeah, so I took the sell right here. So I took that buy, and then like I mentioned, when I have a loss like that, I just take a break. So if I take a loss like that, I end up taking a break, and then I just wait for the next entry, in the other direction. So that's basically what I did, and that's how I took. I had that first win, had that first loss. The first loss for the week, and then I bounced back with these two wins right here. So that's pretty much what I did there for that position. But I'm not sure if that's what we were asking about, Saquon. Is that what you're talking about, where you had the double rejection? I just want to make sure I'm answering your question properly, because I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to. Let's go back real quick, see if there's anything here. Yeah, other than that, let me see. Yeah, I don't know if you see my question here. So yeah, Saquon, I don't know if that's what you were referring to, but if you're referring to where it rejects off two structures, because that could be your question, or your other question could be if you have like a double rejection. So like, for example, trying to see if I could find one here before, let's see. Okay, yeah. So Saquon, yeah, said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so if that happens right there, for example, where you have a double rejection, I would just skip this and then wait for the next one. Because for example, here, if you just skip this, we would have had, you would have avoided this loss. And then if you just waited for the next entry, which would have been, let's see, I think there's another entry that came after it. Yeah, so for example, if you just waited off that and didn't take that trade, then you just waited for, you know, this one right here. Like say you skip that first one. So skip this one, you waited for this one right here instead, you would hit full TP off this one right here, right? See right there. So if that happens, just skip the trade and then just wait for the next one to appear. Because this would have been a lot better. If I would have just been patient and just waited for this trade, I could have avoided that one loss and I could have hit this instead. But you know, we all learn from it. Like we all make mistakes here and there. You know, you can never be a perfect trader 100% of the time. Sometimes you get sloppy, like I did last night, and then you end up taking a small loss like that. But it's fine because I covered that loss with this following win right here. So let me see the chat real quick, see if there's anything else that we're looking at. Scroll up real quick. Yeah, our US 30 is at all-time high right now. Raymar is asking, what's the website that you were talking about that shows the amount of people going for a short or a buy? So Raymar, to get that, just go on IG sentiment. So what I do is I just go on Google. I Google IG sentiment US 30. It doesn't matter if it's US 30 or gold or anything. If you want to look at gold, just type in gold. And then gold will come up right there, right here. If you want to look at US 30, type in US 30, comes up right there. If you want Nasdaq, pull that up right there, and there's Nasdaq. So you guys can see right here that, you know, depending on what you're looking for, like there's so many people long gold right now, so I wouldn't buy gold. Currently, I'd wait for it to retrace down a little bit before buying it at a, you know, so you can buy it at a discount. Same for like US 30 right here, 60% and 66% of people are short. Same for Nasdaq, 51% of people are short here. So this is actually even playing field for Nasdaq. That's why it makes Nasdaq a little safer to trade, because there's not so many people on one side. Or actually, you kind of want more people on one side because you could trade opposite of them, rather than where it's 50-50 and you just don't know what's going on with that specific asset. So I'll just keep US 30 open right here. Yeah, so that answers that question. Let me see if there's anything else here. Lejana is asking, where do you think crypto MTL is going? Let me see. I don't really trade. Well, I don't trade cryptos at all, but I can analyze it for you. So you said MTL. I'm not sure which MTL are you talking about. I'm assuming it's metal, right? Lejana. So I'm trying to see what MTL. I mean, there's a lot of different MTLs here. So I'm not sure if you could be a little more specific with your asset that you want me to analyze. I don't really see it on here. There's a bunch of MTLs. I mean, there's stock. If I go to crypto, there's a lot of. I'm assuming you're referring to metal, right? Because if you're trading metal, I mean, this doesn't look like a crypto to me. There's a bunch of different metal pairs right here. There's metal Bitcoin, metal Ethereum, there's metal Tether, Ethereum, Bitcoin. I don't know. There's a lot of different MTLs here. Lejana, so I'm not sure if you have a more specific asset to follow. If I just type in MTL, I mean, it just goes to metal, I think, right? Or it goes to the stock. So I'm not sure which MTL you're referring to, but there's a lot of different cryptos here that are paired with MTL. So if you could be a little more specific, I could show you, but I don't know which one you're talking about. There's just too many here to I don't know if you're talking about metal, US dollar. If that's it, then I don't know. This might be it. I'm just not sure which one you're referring to. So yeah, if you could confirm that, I'll go back and answer that for you, and then I'll show anything else that, like, I'll show any other confirmations here. If you can confirm the asset, but I just don't see anything on there. So yeah, so we'll go back to MTL once you can confirm that. Otherwise, I don't know which one you're talking about. Here, let's see. Winston said, can you explain how you took that US 30 trade? So I took that US 30. I don't know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the scalp, right? So I took the scalp because we're using the scalping strategy that we use here, we just had the rejection off the K2 pivots. If you guys aren't familiar with the K2 indicators, these 4 lines right here are the K2 pivots. So we look for the rejection off the K2 pivots. We also look for the rejection off the structure right here, K2 pivots and the structure. And then that's where we took this buy position. So that's pretty much it for that one. And it's the same with these other positions down here as well. So you can see there's a bunch of entries right here. There's the same strategy we've been using. Rejection off the structure, rejection off the pivot. Obviously right there, full TP. Again, right here. If you took that one, full TP as well. So there's a bunch of entries you can take. And that's pretty much, why we took this one right here. It's the same strategy. It's back to back. Let's see if there's anything else here before we continue. Ezra said, KT strategy always on point. Great. The pips keep rolling, scalping on fire. Yeah, definitely, Ezra. Thanks for that. Definitely. I mean, you've been around for a while, Ezra. So you've seen like all the trades that we take. I trade live every day. So you guys will see that, I take all these trades live with you guys. I make profits. I show you guys my profits. It's nothing new. We just the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing. Here's our NDJPY, guys. If you guys are still in the trade, it's rejected off the structure and it's shooting back up in profit. It's currently in profit right now. So it looks good for the most part. Jensel, I don't know if you're in here right now, but you might have to change that little gift that you got with the digging the dollars up. So let me see if there's anything else here before we continue on. Let's see. Cities, Nasdaq scalp about to trigger. So let me check that out real quick. So our US 30 is looking good, both in profit right now. Our scalp entries in profit. Also our full position right here is like right above entry, or it's right at entry. So both looking good for the most part, but let me go ahead and take a look at Nasdaq real quick. City mentioned Nasdaq scalp entry was about to activate. So looking at this right here, yeah, we do have the rejection off this point right here, off the pivot and off the structure. So if you guys want to take this scalp right here, you guys can. I'm probably not going to take it because I don't want to eat into my margin. And I don't want to hype, like I don't want to jump into things that I don't normally trade. I normally just trade US 30. So looking at this here, this looks like this would be a decent scalp for about 200 pips. I'm not sure what the sweet spot is for Nasdaq because I don't trade it, but it looks like it's about 200 pips. So if you guys want to take this trade, looks like it's closing in about 2 minutes. If this ends up closing where it currently is, we do have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. So this would confirm a scalp entry right here for a buy right there. So that looks good, City. I mean, if it does close, this looks like a decent scalp right there for a quick 200 pips off that. So that looks good. Our US 30 is looking good as well. Everything looks pretty good so far. So let me see if there's anything else here. Byron said, what's your full daily TP? So Byron, my full daily TP is going to be at 31,506. That's the full TP on that one for US 30. Let's see. Mohammed's asking scalp on US 30. Sure, no problem, Indra. Glad I could help with that. So the scalp entry for UK 100, I'll just pull that up real quick. So we'll pull up UK 100 right here. So yeah, if this ends up closing below the structure, let me just redraw these zones real quick, see if there's any new zones here. So Mohammed, it looks like there's a, or no, it looks like there's no scalp entry right now for UK 100. Well, London market is closing soon, right? Or has it already closed? I'm not sure. I haven't checked the time, but yeah, just looking at this here right now, looks like there's no scalp, or no, technically there is. So if this closes below here, there's, if this candle closes below this, or if it closes like this, where this isn't above the zone, because obviously, you need the rejection off the zone. If the body is above it, there's going to be no rejection. But if we have this right here, where it actually closes like this, so if it closes like this is perfectly fine. If this closes, then you'll have a short entry right here for UK 100, where, like I mentioned, I don't trade this normally, so I don't know what the sweet spot is for your TP stop loss. I'm assuming it might be about 100, or it might be wider if it's too. If it's this is too tight, it might be like maybe 150. Maybe that seems a little better, right? 150. There's no entry there. So when we just looked at this right here, we have the rejection off the pivot, but we don't have the rejection off the structure. You can see how the body was closed above. We need the wick to reject off the structure as well. Since there's no wick rejection off the structure, there's no entry. However, if this ends up pushing up again and then it ends up swinging back down, there might be an entry off this candle right here. So just keep that in mind. You can keep watching it. And we'll see how this ends up playing out. But if this does play out like that, you can take this for a short entry right there. It rejected off the structure, it rejected off the pivot. With that said, if it closes below here, then you'll be perfectly fine. So yeah, that looks good for the most part right there. Let me check the other chats to see if there's anything else to look at. Access denied said, are you actually profitable? I don't know, access denied. Go and watch all the previous live streams where I trade every day. You can see if I'm profitable or not. You can watch all the 5 hours that I trade every single day, and then add up all my profits, and then you could let me know if I'm profitable or not. If you really want to know, because obviously if you watch all my sessions, all my trades are pretty much documented here, and I also share all my profits here as well. If you want to go back all the way to, I don't know, February, and you want to see all my profits here, this is when I was still on Thinkorswim. And then if you want to go back and see all my profits from August, yeah, I'm pretty profitable, It's 12,000 in a day right there, trading US 30. That's how I'm able to afford this Tesla here. This isn't off fake profits. I'm literally profiting every day over here as well. And I think recently, and I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the trades, because I kept hitting these trades here. I kept hitting all these profits here. And then if you guys are familiar with, everything that I've taken, I ended up wrapping my Tesla in that profit blue color. This was the white color that was before. If you guys are familiar with it, this is the color that was, it started off white. That's when I got this. When I first started trading FTMO, I bought my Tesla because, I kept winning. And then we had a big profit time a couple months ago. So what happened was I ended up wrapping it in profit blue because, my screens are always blue right here. So obviously I had to do it with that profit blue color. So I don't know if I'm profitable or not, maybe not, if you don't believe it, but I mean, you can't just go buy a car like that with no profits. So that's pretty much it, guys. I don't know if there's any other questions here. Let me see if there's anything else before we continue on. Diamond said, I'm about to email you my TradingView username to get access. Yeah, Diamond, just send me your information and then I can check for you. Let me see if I could see anything here quick. Diamond, you don't have access to the indicators. You need to upgrade your account. You only have access to the signals. So if you want the indicators, you have to sign up for the actual strategies, Diamond. So I did see your email. You just emailed me right now, but I looked at your account. You only have access to the signals. So even if I did update it, you wouldn't have access to it. You'd have to go to the website, k2trades.com, sign up for the strategy course, because these are totally different. If you just want the signals, these are the signals. If you want the strategies with indicators, you can go to the strategy course right here. So yeah, Diamond, if you want that, just go ahead and sign up for that right there, and then you can unlock your access. But I don't think you have access to it right now. Let me check your account again real quick. Yeah, so you don't have access to it. So if you do, just sign up for the proper subscription, then you get access to that specific access for the indicators. So yeah, there's an entry right here, guys. I don't know if anyone's looking at this UK 100. There's one that's possibly, I don't know, it could come up right here if this ends up closing. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else to look at over here. Damn, US 30 is dumping a little bit right now. I don't know what's causing these spikes in price. but it looks like, so it looks like all the indices are kind of dropping right now. Looks like US 30, S&P, Nasdaq. Let me check the news real quick to see if there's anything that's going on in the market. I mean, aside from Tesla. So guys, I don't know if anyone bought any Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin this morning when I saw this news, and I bought like 500 bucks of Bitcoin, and then it ended up spiking up to like 650. So I'm in profit with Bitcoin right now. Not sure if anyone else is looking at it. But other than that, I don't see anything here that's necessarily like directly affecting the indice market. Sometimes that happens, guys. It is Monday, so just keep in mind that the market is going to be spiking back and forth. But I don't see anything here necessarily pushing the indices down. Nothing on CNBC that's really pushing it. Let's see. CDC, Trump administration influenced CDC guidance to suppress COVID testing. Yeah, so there's not really much new news right now. I mean, across the board, if you look at CNBC right here, they have the ticker for all the indices. They're all bullish. It looks like they just like spiked down slightly just now. I'm not sure what caused the spike down, but it I mean, it's fine for the most part. If this ends up happening, I'm still in the other position. I can just take some scalps in the other direction if it ends up coming down further. This is weird because like it looks like US 30 and S&P are just coming down heavy right now, but the Nasdaq just spiked up. So if you guys took that scalp that I just looked over earlier, this ended up, so this entry right here, it ended up pushing up in profit. So it's currently in profit right now. I'm not sure what's going on with the other indices right now though. So it looks like all of them are kind of bouncing around. Let me check the other indices to see if there's anything going on with like the DAX. The DAX is dropping as well. So not really sure what's causing these spikes in price. Yeah, unfortunately the scalp for this one hit stop loss. It just spiked down real quick, but it's fine. We're still in profit for the day. So I'm in overall profit. I'm just holding on to this next one to see, you know, how this ends up playing out. The market's pretty erratic right now, guys, just looking at it right now. So looking at US 30, the stop loss hit on the scalp, but on our full position, it's still currently running. So you can see here that this is normal candle movement right here. This is like, you know, about like 300 to 400 pips movement right here. But you can see these big spikes in price. Something's pushing price around, obviously. Like this was a big spike up for about 1,000 pips. And then this was a big spike down for about 600 to 700 pips right there as well. But it's fine. So if this happens and it ends up spiking back this way, because we took the loss on this scalp right here, if it spikes up down here and then comes back up and then comes back down, then I would take some scalps in the other direction. So if this happens where it comes down and comes back up, then I'll just take a scalp in this way and then I'll just cover that loss. So we took a small loss right here for that scalp. If we end up going this direction, I'll just take the scalp here and then I will, I'll stack another win in this direction to just cover that small loss that we had. And that's just the game of scalping, guys. If you guys are familiar with scalping, you know, it's a back and forth game. It's not always going to be straight wins. It's going to be back and forth, win, loss, win, loss. But if you keep doing it properly, you should always end up in profit, you know, at the end of the day, the end of the week, end of the month. Obviously this move right here is it's a random spike down and it happens. So what I think is happening now, let me check the sentiment real quick. So sentiment's still 66%. I think what's happening here is they're probably giving some people some false hope. They're pushing price down. And this normally happens when price gets manipulated, right? If there's so many people that are short, they're going to let people have some hope that price is going to come back down. And then what happens from that point is that it skyrockets all the way back up. It happens all the time, right? You guys will see that where price will come down. So this is what happens. They push price down. People start entering some sell positions right here, right? They enter a bunch of sell positions and then they push price slightly, just a little bit. And then all of a sudden it spikes all the way back up to stop them out. So look at this big wick right here. That's basically what's happening right here. They're luring in more sellers because they want more people to sell, because they know that a lot of people are thinking this is like, oh, this is the all-time high, so price has to come down, right? So when people see that, a bunch of people enter sell positions from this point. So let's see. The all-time high is right here. I'm just going to color it a different color so you guys don't get confused with the zones. This is the all-time high right here, right? So what do you think happens when price gets to this all-time high? A bunch of people enter short positions right here, right? They enter a short position and then they try to ride this all the way down. They try to go for that big win. what generally happens is they push price down slightly to lure in more sellers. They want people to enter these sell positions. And then when you least expect it, it spikes all the way up and then stops everybody out that was in the sell position. And that's basically what I see happening here. It's just typical market manipulation. It happens all the time. And that's why we take, minimal risk when we take these scalp positions, because if we take a loss here, we'll just take the next one and then bounce back off that. So look at this big bullish candle right here. It's probably going to shoot up. And I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks above the all-time high. So just keep that in mind, and be cognizant of how the market's moving, right? The market's always moving like this, like when there's so many people on one side. So let me build your mindset. So what's stop loss for the daily? The daily entry stop loss is going to be 31,206. Building your mindset. Again, that's 31,206 right here. So it still has a long way to go until it reaches that point. I think it's definitely going to swing up, so it should be fine. All right, so let me see what else is going on over here. Let me see. US 30 scalps. Yeah, Andrew, I did see that US 30 buy. That's one I took, unfortunately. Deswell said, yeah, man, it's like the Black Clock channel. There's no one around like K2 Trust. Yeah, definitely Deswell. Thanks for that, bro. I appreciate it. Indra said 1600. Oh, you're going back to what we looked at earlier, right? So yeah, that one at 1600 was an entry. Or no, I mean, let's see. Yeah, so Indra was asking about the entry at 1600. So I'm not sure. Let's see. So you're referring to this one over here. Let me just take everything off. You were talking about the entry at 1600, which is right here. Yeah, no, that's the one that we talked about yesterday, Indra, and I went over it again today. That's the same one that we just discussed, where there was a double entry there. So I'm not sure if you remember my analysis of that, but I analyzed it yesterday and analyzed it just now as well. Here, let's see. Ollie's asking for GU, so I'll pull up GU real quick. GU is over here. So I'll just analyze this from scratch. It's the same analysis from earlier. From last night. If you guys sat in on the session, I think you asked for this yesterday, right, Ollie, about GU. So it's the same analysis that I had yesterday. I drew these zones, so I'm not going to redo them again because these are brand new zones. So the rejection off this point, the buy signal right here, what you're waiting for now is you're just waiting for price to break and close past the structure right here for another buy entry off that point, right? So that's basically what we're looking for right here. We're just waiting for this to break and close past the structure, and then we can take a buy position right there and then ride this up. It's the same analysis from last night. I don't think any new zones were created. So if I turn this on right here, same exact zone. So you can see the zones are right here. When I turn this back on, the zones are back on point, right? Same exact areas. And yeah, that's pretty much it from there. Turning on the momentum indicator, same analysis, rejection, buy signal, waiting for that break and close past structure. Then you can take that buy entry from there. So that's pretty much it for GU. Let me move on to the next one as well. Diamond said, can you check my account again? Here, let me see. All right, cool. Let me just update your info real quick. Diamond, you should be good. So I think, yeah, you did upgrade your account, so you should be fine. I did update your info earlier though. So let me just open this real quick. And then, oh, that's cool. So if you guys are not familiar with TradingView, they have a new app. It's like an actual TradingView app for your computer. And you can actually just trade on it. And it's actually a lot faster than the normal. So Diamond, I'm going to go ahead and check your account real quick. And then you should be good. Because I did update your info earlier. And it, obviously it had the error because of like the other account, but I think you should be good now. Let me just double check real quick. right, Diamond, you should be good. So just log out of your trading view and then log back in, and then you should be able to see the indicators on your chart. So if you log out of your trading view and log back in, just click on indicators right here, go to invite only scripts, and then you'll see all of the K2 indicators right here available to you. Don't look in the public, because if you search here for K2, this is like one thing. If you search K2, you're going to find a bunch of other K2 indicators that just have the name. They're just called K2, but they're not the same. It's not the same thing, right? There's like all of these different things called K2, but they're not part of the indicators. Just make sure that you look under invite only scripts, and then these are the actual indicators that you're going to be having access to. So you're good to go, Diamond, if you want to go check that out. Definitely, no problem. Let's see if there's anything else here. Spencer said UK 100, 150 is what I like, definitely. Right, Sisu? Yeah, Sisu said, loving the scalping strategy and scalping inside it. Just scalp another $500 while in the long position called. Yeah, guys, so if you guys have the indicators, you guys can scalp this in both directions. You don't have to scalp it in just one direction. Like, for example, like I mentioned earlier, we took that buy. It was, for a small loss. But if it ends up swinging down, you can end up taking scalps in the other direction. Like, don't get too focused on one direction of price, because price can easily go back and forth easily. And then you can easily, catch scalps in both directions. Like, for example, here, you can take all these buy scalps taking this way. And then as it swings down, you can take some sell scalps and then swing back to a buy, and then et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me see if there's anything else here before I continue on. Yeah, Kel mentioned because of Biden's COVID briefing team. Okay, so that might be it as well, Kel. Thanks for mentioning that. I didn't even know that Biden's team was briefing on COVID, because I didn't see it. Oh, actually, you're right. It's right here. They went live 19 minutes ago. So Biden's COVID team is holding a briefing as the Department of Defense prepares to deploy troops to vaccine sites. So this actually just happened a few minutes ago, and that's probably what spiked price for US 30. So thanks for bringing that up, Kel. I didn't realize that there was something going on. So obviously you can see that when stuff like this happens in the news, something is, well, this isn't small, but something like this that randomly happens, this could easily, affect the market. So this happened about 10:47 Eastern time. I'm on Pacific time. So this was about a few minutes ago. Let me just check real quick. On CNBC. Yeah, this was sent out about 19 minutes ago. So that's exactly when our US 30 dropped, right? So this is 10 minutes, this is another 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago, that's when it spiked down, right? So this spike down is probably due to that news. So thanks for mentioning that, Kel. If you guys aren't familiar with, how this could affect the market, the reason why this would affect the market is because if there's some COVID updates, it's going to affect the market directly, because if we're having positive updates for COVID, it's going to, possibly spike price up for US 30 and further assets like the US dollar in general, because, obviously if the economy is getting better, the indice market and the dollar is going to go up, obviously. So if that happens, this will spike price up. However, it looks like the briefing might not be such great news, because price ended up going down. So if price went down, this news is probably not so great, because it looks like he gave an update here. President Joe Biden, his response team is holding a news briefing, and they reported that it's infected more than 27 million Americans and killed at least 400,000. So these big numbers right here probably affected the market, and it ended up pushing it down a little bit, right? I mean, obviously it didn't have a huge impact where it's going to go like to hell. It's not going to drop all the way down here, but it's enough to spike it like about 500 pips or so to bring it down. But then I see it coming right back up. So no worries with the actual full position right here. We still have a lot of space. There's a lot of cushion right here from now until the stop loss, as well from now up to the TP. So I would just hold tight off that, because this can easily reject off this point and shoot all the way back up. So just keep that in mind. And I wouldn't be too worried about this drop right here, because you're not going to make that easy where price just drops immediately, right? It's going to be a long push down. So I think that's it for that. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat real quick before we continue on. Yeah, so I think that's about it, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise I'll just be analyzing all the pairs to see if there's anything worth taking. But overall, I think, I mean, the market is it's pretty slow right now for the most part. I'll look at the Forex pairs here and see if there's anything to take. But yeah, the market is pretty much just going to be stabilizing from the weekend. Looks like right here for odd CHF, if this ends up closing, this would be an entry right here available for a buy. Let me just see if there's an upper zone here for odd CHF. Looks like there's no zone actually. Let me go on the weekly. So it looks like it's currently at a zone actually. So this would be too risky of a trade for me to want to take. Let me just mark this up right here so I can see where that zone's at. Go back on the 4 hour right here. Yeah, so price is currently right there. If it breaks above this zone, then I'll probably want to take that trade. However, if it doesn't, then we're probably going to hold off. So we'll wait for that to close off there. I'll just mark it up for the next 4 hour candle close. The next 4 hour candle for Forex closes at 10 a.m. my time, which is in about an hour and 49 minutes. We have a lot of time for us to identify entries here. If you guys followed my live stream yesterday, I went over this odd JPY. Basically, it's the same strategy I've been talking about this whole time. Rejection off the structure, buy signal right here, breaking close past structure right here, provided for a buy entry. So it's technically in profit on its way to full TP right there for odd JPY. Looking at odd NZD right here, same situation. We're looking for that breaking close past structure above here to take that buy. We had the rejection down here, buy signal, same situation. This actually played out. So like right here, breaking close past the structure over here. If this ends up closing, you can take a long position right here as well. So I'll just keep that in mind right there for that. Other than that, nothing really available at this point. If you guys have anything else that you guys want me to look at, feel free to put it in the chat. I can analyze any pair for you guys because right now we don't really have much to look at. We're just hanging around and waiting for entries to appear. Let's see. We have a question in the chat. Let's see. Hemraj mentioned, is it even worth trading if you only have $100 to start, build your way up? David said, thanks for responding, David. If you understand risk management, you realize you'll only be making $1-3 a trade as possible. Yeah, I mean, Hemraj, you always have the ability to grow any account size. It doesn't matter how small your account is or how big your account is. But obviously, if you have a small account, you're going to have a smaller growth, right? It's going to take you more time to grow that account, but it's possible if you use proper risk management. Like what David said, if you're risking 1 to 3%, you can make $1 to $3 per trade. If you just keep winning trades back to back to back, then obviously it'll grow up. But obviously, it's gonna take a long time for you to grow that. So let me see if there's anything else over here real quick before we move on forward. Byron's asking, are you still keeping your daily entry? So yeah, I'm still holding on to it, Byron. I mean, it's in some heavy drawdown now because I'm assuming this news is like, I'm not following it right now, obviously, but it looks like they might be talking about stuff that's really affecting the market because it's pushing the indices down right now. And I don't think this push down is due to the all-time high. It's getting pushed down because all of the indices are getting pushed down. So if you look at the Nasdaq over here, this is crazy. It pushed up pretty heavy, then it dropped. And then also right here for S&P, like they're all pretty much dropping. If you look at all the indices right now, they're all pretty much dropping pretty heavy. I'm still hanging on to it though, Byron. If you are, I don't know how long this drop's going to happen, but if you guys look here, it looks like all the indices are now currently dropping. It's not because the US 30 is at an all-time high, because they're all unison across the board. We have US 30 dropping, S&P dropping, Nasdaq dropping, the DAX dropping. Let me see, the Aussie 200 is dropping. Like if you go to any indice here, they're all dropping. So obviously this is probably happening because of the COVID news that's being released right now. UK 100 is dropping. Let's see, yeah, the DAX, JPY, Nasdaq, S&P, UK 100, US 30, they're all dropping right now. I'm still holding on to my trade, Byron, but I do see where it feels risky right now because it's dropping further and further for all the indices. It's not just US 30. So just keep that in mind. I kind of want to see what's going on with the news over here. Oh, wow. Okay. So Republican Ron Wright of Texas just died of COVID. So the COVID news is definitely affecting the market because right now, the Biden team is giving all these updates about COVID, and then a representative actually just died from COVID. So this is all affecting the market all at once. I'm kind of tempted to like flip this position or maybe exit it actually, Byron, now that I think of it, because if this is affecting the entire indice market, like for example, it's different if it's just US 30 dropping, but if all of them are dropping, US 30, UK 100, S&P, Nasdaq, the Japanese Nikkei, the DAX 30, the French index, the Spain index, the Chinese index, the Australian index, if they're all dropping, that's obviously something that's happening in the world that's causing them to drop, right? It's not just because one asset reached a specific price point. There's obviously something that's pushing price. So I'm kind of tempted to close out my position, but I mean, we'll see if we decide to. I don't know. We'll just hold off. I'll probably hold on to it. If it continues to drop further, then maybe I'll close it. But I think right now, this might just recover back up. Like this little spike in price might be temporary, or it spiked down, and then it just might end up swinging all the way back up, right? So I'm not going to be too jumpy on this just yet, because the last thing I want to do is enter this trade, and then as soon as I exit out, it shoots all the way up. And that's happened so many times before, right? Where you just get scared because the news is pushing price in a certain way, but then it ends up recovering like a few seconds later, which has happened to me a whole bunch of times. I ended up closing my position because I thought it was going to drop, and then it ended up recovering all the way back up to full TP within like a few hours. So that's why I'm going to hold on to it right now, Byron. If you do want to close out, I mean, feel free. I do see where the risk is coming from, but I personally going to hold on to this for a bit because I think it's going to swing back up. It's just going to correct back up. These are all like temporary news updates. I don't really see anything too crazy happening to cause it to really drop heavily, but I'm just hanging on to it. Obviously, this is definitely affecting the market, it seems like. But I'm going to hold on to it and just see how this swings. If it drops like way down here, then yeah, maybe I'll take it out. But if it just swings back from here, then I'll just I'll hang on to it. So I'll keep an eye on this right now. Other than that, let me see if there's any other questions before we continue on with the stuff over here. All right, so let's see. Angela said, good morning, Shawn. So knowing that news about President Biden, would you jump back into the long scalp, although there was a loss, since you have an explanation for the drop in price? So Angela, I personally wouldn't play around with it right now because there's obviously there's a lot of stuff that's affecting the market right now. So if this wasn't happening where, COVID was pushing price down, then I would jump back in for a scalp upwards. However, with this going on in the market, it's probably best for us to maybe sit out because you want to wait for it to move normally, right? You don't want something that's pushing price up and down. You want something that's going straight up or going straight down to take those scalps, because the last thing you want to do is enter a scalp and then it spikes up to stop you out, or enter a scalp for the opposite direction for a sell, and then it ends up, spiking the other direction as well to stop you out as well. So you got to keep that in mind with regard to trading when news is happening, because price can easily spike back up, spike back down, spike back up, and it just whipsaws back and forth, right? If that happens, then you might get stopped out in both directions. Like for example, here, if you take a sell position and then it ends up spiking up, you'll get stopped out. Vice versa, if you end up taking a long position, like somewhere around here, and it spikes down, then it'll stop you in that direction as well. So for me personally, I would just wait for the market to stabilize and, move smoothly. So for example, here, I'd wait for this. If this ends up swinging down, I'd wait for it to swing down, retrace back up, and then come back down. Then I would take that sell scalp right there. Vice versa, if I'm taking a buy entry, I would wait for this to swing back up, swing down slightly, and then swing back up, and then I would take that buy entry in that direction. But I wouldn't just enter right now, because if you just enter right now, that'd be considered revenge trading, right? Because you just if you took that buy scalp right there, you're basically revenging that loss to try to make it back, which could be it could be pretty risky because you're not sure if it's actually going to swing up. This can easily reverse in this direction and then continue downwards. So you just want to wait for that confirmation before you take any trades. And don't just enter off emotion, right? Just make sure that there's an actual entry available. And if there is one, then you can take it. So here's US 30. It's actually swinging right back up. That's why I want to hop into that sell, or I didn't want to close out the position, because this is obviously being, moved by news. And as soon as the news clears up, like for example, here, I'm sure Biden and his team were saying bad things about, COVID and stuff. I think after that, he probably rebutted himself and then said something positive. So that's why it's starting to come back up, right? So I would just hold off and then just wait for another confirmation, Angela. Once you have a confirmation for either direction for a sell or a buy, then you can take that trade. We already took the loss on the buy over here, so I'm not going to take any more until it swings back up, or until we have some sort of buy instead, because we don't want to get caught in some whipsaw action where you end up taking a sell, ends up spiking up, stops you out, and then vice versa. If you take a sell and it spikes the other direction, you end up taking a loss on that as well. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else in the chat as we continue on forward. Dre said, am I able to start with $0? So there's necessarily, I mean, you could learn with $0, Dre. You can just go on the website. If you go to the website, k2trades.com, you just click on unlock access to K2 right here, free access actually. And then you'll have access to the free intro course. Plus you'll have access to all of the public groups for K2. So you can technically start for free. You just can't trade real money for free, because obviously you don't have real money to trade. But you can still learn for free. You can learn, get prepared, get confident, get ready with your trade demo. And then once you're confident, then you can go ahead and sign up, for a real account, and fund your account, trade for real. But if you want to start off for free, you can start off for free, Dre. Just go on the website, k2trades.com right here. Very simple. Click on free access right here, and then you'll have access to the free intro course. Let's see if there's anything else here to look at. So yeah, US 30 here is bouncing back and forth. I'm going to hang on to it, Byron, because this can easily spike right back up. So I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to hold on to the daily position, let it run, and then see what happens from that point. And then if we have another scalp entry, I'll take another scalp entry, and I'll recover, whatever damage I took from that last scalp. So that's it for that right there. Let me see if there's anything else. Vishnu said, guys, what are your commission fees for US 30 on FTMO? Let me check real quick. So I take a standard lot on mine, Vishnu. So looking at mine real quick, let me see what my fees are. I only get charged $312 for my trade, Vishnu. So I'm taking a standard lot. So I guess per standard lot, it's about $3, which is not bad. I mean, I'll pay that to have better spreads anyways. The commissions aren't that high, Vishnu, for FTMO. All right. So Tariq said, help. How many pips for Forex pairs take profit and stop loss? I'm confused. Is it the same as US 30 and 500? It's completely different, Tariq. So depending on what you're trading, Forex is measured way differently compared to US 30, and US 30 is measured completely different to S&P. Like for example, here, if you look at this, these are measured in points. So this right here is only 35 points, but in reality, it's 350 pips. For S&P, I don't trade S&P, so I can't really give you a straight answer for that. But, looking at right here, I think these are considered points as well. So like, for example, here, or actually, I don't know, this might be pips. So I'm probably not the person to ask about these other assets that I don't trade. Like I know how US 30 works, so I know how this is measured, but I don't trade S&P, so I don't know how this is measured here. And then, comparing that to Forex, these are actual pips. So these are pips here. These numbers are here at 20.0, those are pips. For US 30, when you measure this right here, these are points. So these are 22 points. That'd be equivalent to 2,200 pips. I mean, sorry, 220 pips. So these would be points. These would be pips. And for S&P, I honestly, I'm not sure because I don't trade it. But just measuring this here, this kind of looks like this would be points, not pips. Or I don't know, because S&P is worth cheaper than US 30. So I'm not sure how is it measured. But I think this... Okay, yeah, better example, Tariq. So Tariq said, example for CAD CHF 10-minute scalp, how would you calculate the pips, the profit on not the indices? Sorry. Tariq, so yeah, looking at CAD CHF right here, I mean, if you were taking a scalp entry, like if you wanted to take this right here for a scalp entry, this would be pips. So this would be 30 pips. You'd push it to the next structure right here. Obviously, you could ride it higher, but for me, I only ride it to the next structure, would be about 20 pips right here. This would be the pip count right here. So this would be 20 pips. Okay, so Tariq said normal currencies, just in general, how do you calculate profit, loss, and stop loss? I mean, it depends on what strategy you're applying, Tariq. I mean, if you're applying the K2SR strategy, we push to the next structure. So if I'm doing this right here, my TP is going to be at the next structure right here for 20 pips. My stop loss is going to be 20 pips as well. If you're trading something else like a swing strategy, then you can enter like a long position right here. Your stop loss would be at the previous swing, which would be somewhere down here for about 37 pips. So there's different ways to do it. There's not just one way to calculate your stop loss TP. It just depends on what you're applying. If your strategy requires that you put your stop loss at the swing, then you put it at the swing. You can put it there. If you're reaching the next structure, you can, that will be your baseline. Your baseline would be the structure right here. So it'd be about 20 pips, and then your stop loss would be equal distance away to cover, any type of range if price ends up spiking back and forth. So there's different ways, Tariq. I mean, it just depends on what you're applying. Like if you go on the website on K2 Trades here, and you sign up to the course, like I'll pull up the free intro course here so you guys can see what's part of the free intro course and what's part of the, or I'll pull up the premium course right here. So if you pull up the strategy course, let me let it load real quick. All right, so like for example here, this is what the strategy course looks like. If you go on here, it has the bare basics here, for what you need to know to trade, and then all the strategies here. So depending on what strategy you're applying, if you're applying the intraday strategy, we put the stop loss at the previous swing. So for example here, if you're trading this, if you enter this long position here, it'd be at the swing. So that's that strategy. If you're applying the momentum pullback strategy, this is also at the swing. If you're scalping, it's different because we use a fixed lot size. So like, for example, here, if we were to scalp this trade and we're only going for like 10 pips, 10 pips both ways or 20 pips both ways, we just put 20 pips and that would be our, what the sweet spot would be for the specific pair. It just depends on what you're trading. And then vice versa. If you go down the course, there's a whole bunch of other strategies here as well. If you want to use a pivot strategy, then your stop loss would be in a different area as well. So for example, if you're using the pivot strategy right here, so you would enter the same position, that same long position, but your stop loss would be at the pivot right here. So it'd be about 27 pips. So you can see how different it is. It just depends on what strategy you're applying. But if you have access to the K2 course, it's explained in detail per strategy where we put the stop loss. So just keep that in mind. Everything is measured differently. It just depends on what you're applying at the time. So, I mean, that's about it for that. Let me go back to the chat real quick and see if there's anything else that we missed. All right, so I'm just going to delete this real quick. Looks like US 30 swung back up. So good thing we held on to that, Byron. It's swinging right back up right now and looks fine. So I'm going to keep holding on to that. And then we will analyze anything else on the list if you guys have any other questions. All right, so let me pull this up real quick, see if there's any other questions, and then we can get started with any further analysis. Yeah, no problem, Tariq. All right, glad I could help you with that. Let's see if there's anything else here. Hey, Nelson, how's it going, bro? Odd CHF for Wavy Wave. Actually, I think we had another question here for GN. I don't know if I ever looked at that. Yeah, so sorry, Mary. I missed your question above there. Mary wanted me to take a look at GBP NZD real quick. So let me pull up GBP NZD. This is the same analysis that I looked at yesterday. I'll analyze it from scratch for the new people here. If you guys aren't familiar with how I analyze the charts, I'll just delete everything off the chart here. Here's the naked chart. I'm going to zoom out, turn on the K2SR indicator right here. And then from this point, I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones on the chart for you guys. Change the color back to red. We have that right there. That right there. There. There you go. There, and then also this one down here. All right, cool. So once I've drawn those zones, I'll just go back to see, how far this has been tested. This has been tested. So price is currently right here. We just drew this today on February 8th. It's been testing since November of last year. So November 2020, it's been in the same exact price point. And then going back further, it was back here in September. And then again back in July. And that's about it for a while. And then back in 2019. So it's been testing the same area for a long time. You can see it's tested it back in August, September of 2019, again in June of 2019, back in March 2019. And this is kind of cool because it shows you like what price is likely to do, right? Because if you look at this time of like years back, so February 8 of 2019, price was in the same area right here, right? So if I zoom in right here, this is where price currently is. So February 8 of 2019, you can see that price ended up dropping super heavy as soon as it broke structure, right? So as soon as it broke structure down here, it dropped pretty heavy. So if we go back to current price right now, look what's happening here. It's doing the same exact thing, right? So if price ends up closing below this structure, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to do exactly what it did back in 2018 and 2019. So if I go back over here again, you can see right here, 2019, February 8 of 2019, same date, just 2 years back. When price broke structure right here, just like I drew up where I currently am. So price broke structure right here. It dropped a total of 250 pips. Don't you guys want a free 250 pips right there? So you guys can see that if this happens again, where price currently is, which it's exactly what's happening right here. Price is doing the same exact pattern on February 8th of 2019. But this year, if it comes below here, then odds are it's going to drop even further. And you can take that short right there for a nice profit, right? So that's kind of what I see happening here. What I'll do for extra confirmation is I'll turn on the momentum indicator. And then from this point, it's the same exact thing. We have the rejection of here. We have the sell signal right here. Now we just want confirmation for it to break and close below here before we take that sell entry for here. So Mary, I think this would be a good sell if it ends up playing out. However, we just would have to wait for it to actually play out before we take that, because obviously it's going to be a risky trade from this point up until once it actually breaks below here. I mean, technically it could break below here as well. So let me just delete this. It doesn't have to break all the way down there. It could actually break below here. And then if it closes below there, we can possibly take that for a nice little short position right here as well, for a nice little gain of about 30, 40 pips right there. So that'd be a nice little profit right there. And then if it breaks below here again, this would be where I would want to take it. Right here is a little risky, but if it breaks below here, this is where like it's a gold mine. Like literally you take this right here and you can take this nice drop from there, because it's just going, it's just history repeating itself. If you look back, every time it's hit at that point, for example, right here, this is the same exact date, just 2 years back. So February 8th, 2019, it dropped from that point as soon as it dropped. So it might take some time. You can see right here, it took some time to drop down there. It took about a couple of days from the 8th up until the 12th. Once it hit the 12th, like a pretty nice free fall from there. Going back right here, again, same situation. It broke structure and then it dropped. And then same thing again over here. So you guys can see if you guys have these zones here, it makes a huge difference with regard to, you being able to, it's again right here. So same situation in 2019, this happened. And then again in 2018, it happened again, where when price breaks structure, it just dumps pretty heavy. So just keep that in mind. History always repeats itself, especially for Forex, because there's so much data where like patterns just keep repeating itself over and over again. So that's what I see happening for GN right there. Other than that, let's see if there's anything else. So that's it for GN. I think the next question is from Wavy Wade. He wants odd CHF. So let me pull up odd CHF for you guys. All right, so odd CHF, we were looking at this earlier. We're waiting for price to break and close past this this weekly resistance. So it's currently at the weekly resistance right now. It actually rejected right off it. So we're just waiting for it to break above it. So right here we have the rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, pushed up. Breaking structure again right here, but it's currently at the weekly resistance. So we want price to break and close past this structure right here. Once it does that, then we can take another long position upwards from here. So just keep that in mind right here. And then I think this should be this should be good for the most part. But yeah, you know, I would be patient, just actually wait for it to close. I wouldn't just enter right here, because the worst thing that can happen is if you enter right here and then it ends up rejecting off this point and drops heavy, you're gonna get stopped out, right? So I would just be patient and just wait for this confirmation for price to actually break above this structure, which is the weekly resistance. Once that happens, we can take that long position right here. So that's pretty much what I see happening for odd CHF. Other than that, I think that's about it for this one. Here, let's see. All right, so I think that's about it for there. Kel mentioned briefing is about to end. Hopefully we see markets return to normal. Yeah, so hopefully that you know, that's the end of it for that briefing. I'm sure they're talking about stuff that's affecting the market. So again, right here, it looks like there's just more and more COVID news that are happening, right? There's another one right here. Andrew Cuomo, the New York governor, he's now speaking about, he's having another briefing about the COVID pandemic. So we just had that briefing with Biden's team. Now we have another one with Cuomo right here, where he's, I mean, I don't know what he's going to say, but he's probably going to say stuff that isn't that great. So we'll see. But I'm going to hang tight with this trade, guys. I'm not going to hop out just because, even though we're in some drawdown right now, I'm going to keep on. And if I see some scalps in the other direction, I'll take some scalps, because then I can just offset, you know, any of the losses. We're still currently in some pretty much decent profit for the week so far, because we did have some wins yesterday and we had some wins this morning. We just have one small loss right here for the scalp, and that's fine. You know what happens if you're scalping, you're expecting losses. Losses are going to happen here and there. But other than that, I'm going to hang on to it, because this can easily, so this is dropping right here, but this can easily spike up at any point. And the last thing you want to do is close the trade out early, and then it ends up spiking back in profit to hit the full TP, you know, within a couple hours. We're not even to halfway through the market yet. It's only 8:36. The halfway market for the New York Stock Exchange is around 10 a.m. my time. So in about 2 hours, that's when we'll start to see a swing in price as we exit the US session and enter the Asia session after the market swap. So just keep that in mind, guys. I'll be holding on to my position. If I do exit it, I'll probably let you know, but I'm probably going to hang on to it for the rest of the ride, just to see how this ends up playing out. So let's see, CT said Nasdaq resistance at, wow, look at this crazy drop. So look, check this out, guys. All the indices are dumping pretty heavy right now. And I'm pretty sure it's because of this COVID news, because we had bad COVID news over here for Biden. And now we have more bad COVID news for Governor Cuomo right here. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, I'm still holding on to mine, guys. I'm not going to shake out of this trade just yet. I'm going to keep holding on to it because, like I mentioned, this can easily spike right back up. But look at these crazy spikes right here. We have some spikes for US. For Nasdaq right here, it dropped pretty heavy. Another spike down here for S&P. Obviously, all of the indices are getting affected, right, because of this news. And then same with the Aussie 200. This is weird because the Aussie market's not even open right now, but it's moving pretty heavily. We have this dropping. We have the China index dropping, Spain index, France index, German DAX, Japanese Nikkei, Nasdaq. So obviously, if all the indexes are going one direction, something in the market's affecting price, right? It's pushing price in one direction or the other. So, you know, that'll just give you some peace of mind that this just isn't a random movement. This movement is being pushed because of news happening. But yeah, like what CT mentioned about Nasdaq. Let me just pull up Nasdaq real quick. Let's see. Yeah, 13,600. So CT mentioned that, I guess he means support. So I guess this is his support level down here. I'm assuming he got this on a higher time frame. Let me see if I can pull this up right here. There's another zone down there. So the next zone for me is like way down here. But CT mentioned that his support is going to be at 36. See that real quick. Yeah, this is where CT's support is right here. It might even reject from this point right here, CT. It can easily spike up from this point right here as well. So it can spike up from there, or it can spike up from here as well. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that can play out from this point. Yeah, exactly, CT. So that looks good. It pretty much lines up with mine. I don't know if you probably got this on the higher time frame. Let me go on the higher one. Maybe there's another there's another support that's down there that I missed. So if I go down here, I'm just going to turn this on, go on the higher time frames, like maybe the 30-minute. Oh yeah, so it lines up perfectly with 30-minute basically. It's pretty close. Right there, CT. So yeah, CT's support is at 36. 13,600, and it lines up pretty much with the 30-minute support right here as well. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so he's detecting it through volume, so it looks good for the most part. Yeah, Kel said now the New York governor is doing a COVID briefing. Yeah, I mean it's not helping our position at all, but I'm not going to shake out of it. I'm going to keep holding on to it because after these briefings are done, price will probably swing right back up. So I'm not really too worried. I mean, what did you guys expect? You know, like the news is going to be bad for COVID regardless. So with that said, I think this is going to be a temporary push in one direction. And then I think it's going to correct back up at some point. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to, I mean, if we end up taking a loss on this is fine. The week just started and we did take profits yesterday and we took profits this morning as well off the other scalp. So we're still technically in profit overall. If you guys took the trades yesterday and the trades today, but if this sets us back, it's a small setback. It's nothing big. We have a whole week to make it all back and then some, you know, the week is just starting. So we have a whole 5 or 4 days for us to make more profit, to bounce back from any of these losses that we end up suffering early in the week. And this is kind of good that it's happening early in the week because I personally don't mind starting the week off rough. I'd rather have it start rough and then end the week out strong, which is usually what happens. But just looking at these indices right here, obviously everything is dropping right now because of the new COVID news that's being released. But yeah, I'm going to hang on tight to these trades. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here to look at before we continue on. I think that's about it for the most part. Yeah, it looks like we're done with all the questions right now. So if you guys have any questions or you guys want me to analyze anything specific, just feel free to let me know, and then I can take a look. But yeah, guys, just keep in mind it's still early in the week. It's barely Monday. So we have a full day tomorrow, full day Wednesday, full day Thursday. And just looking at the news for the week, there's not really much news happening overall. So today's pretty clear. Tomorrow's pretty clear. Wednesday's clear for the most part, aside from the Fed speaking midday. But other than that, it looks like we have a pretty clear trading, a pretty clear trading week ahead of us where we can take some pretty decent entries if we see anything for our Forex positions and stuff like that. But otherwise, we're pretty much just going to be sitting tight and waiting for these trades to play out for the most part. Deswell said, when we started trading on Sundays. Yeah, so I trade on Sundays sometimes, Deswell. I don't always trade on Sundays, but I do go live. So I do go live on Sunday night. So if you do want to sit in on my trades and see, what I'm taking, you can sit in on the sessions. But most of the time, we just call like a few trades on Sundays. We keep it very minimal because the market's still like barely moving. But we do catch those as we go. So let me see if there's anything else here real quick. Let's see. All right, so hopefully YouTube doesn't kick me off the live stream. It's getting close to 9, guys. If you guys have been following the live streams, I usually get kicked off around 9 for some reason on YouTube. I think it's because I'd be on the live stream for too long. I mean, before I was on the live stream for like 5-6 hours and we never had issues, but YouTube has started kicking me out like around 3 hours. So I've been live for 2 hours now. We're about to hit 3 hours. I think once it hits the 3-hour mark, that's usually when YouTube kicks me off because I've just been on for too long. So if that ends up happening, so like, for example, if I get kicked off in the next 20 minutes or so, guys, then I'll probably just be cutting this session a little short. I still need to figure out a workaround to fix that where I can get on the stream longer, where I can just probably log back in for a second session if needed. Otherwise, if I get logged off at about 9, you guys will know why. The same issue that happens every day when I go live because I go live for too long. And then I'll try to log back in. Yeah, Peter mentioned if you get kicked out, just come back. So I'll try to do that, Peter. I'll try to come back. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes YouTube gives me like a little timeout session where I have to take a little break and then it'll let me go back on like maybe like 10 or 20 minutes later. So if I do get logged off, Peter, I'll try to log back on. Otherwise, we'll probably just cut this a little short, and I'll try to figure out a way to fix this so we can stay on this session a little longer. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, let's see. CT said GU rejection. Yeah, I see the rejection off that right there too, CT. So I've been looking at this since yesterday. I was waiting for GU to break and close past the structure so that we can take this entry here. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet, but we're still waiting for that to play out if it ends up playing out. However, if this ends up rejecting off here, that would be the obviously the opposite direction. So if that happens, rejection off here, sell signal, we could probably take this for a sell. But yeah, I mean, until then, we're probably gonna be waiting for that to play out. So I'll just take this off because we do have the rejection right there. If this ends up rejecting off, it could be like this right here. Rejection off this structure, sell signal right here, breaking close past structure. Then it pushes down to the next structure down here, right? Same situation, back and forth. So if we had that rejection off that point, sell signal at whatever point down here, rejection, possible sell signal at some point over here, and then a continued drop from there, right? So we'll see how this plays out. Otherwise, I think that's about it for now, guys. I don't see anything else on the charts. Unless you guys have any other questions, we can take a look at any pair that you guys want me to. But I think for now, we're just going to hang out, see if there's anything that we can possibly take. So if I go back on the scalps over here, let me go back to the scalp. Yeah, so everything looks like it's swinging back up, thankfully, right? So we have the nice wick right here off US 30. It's wicking off the bottom. So if that happens, it's probably going to swing right back up from this point. So that looks like it could swing back up. The Nasdaq right here is actually swinging back up already as we speak. So rejection off that structure, swing right back up from there. Same with the S&P as well. So everything looks like it's starting to swing back up. So that's why we didn't close out of our position, because we don't get caught in this noise right here, right? This news, like the news that was happening earlier, obviously affected price with regard to COVID. But if this ends up swinging back up, that's completely fine. Because if I pull up all the indexes, we have UK 100 right here. It's swinging back up. We'll go down the list again. So we have the Aussie 200 right here. It's rejecting off that bottom. Chinese index, it's swinging back up. Spain index looks like it's still dropping, but the French index, it looks like it's rejecting off that point. So everything looks like it's coming right back, right? The DAX right here, rejection off this wick right here, and it just keeps pushing up higher and higher. So that looks fine. I'm not too worried about our US 30 position. I'm going to keep holding on to it, and then we'll just wait and see how this, ends up playing out from here. Yeah, guys, give me like about 5 minutes. I'm going to go answer this call real quick. So I keep getting a call from this number. So I'm just going to answer this call real quick, and then I'll be right back. So let me just turn this off real quick, and I'll be back for like 1 All right, guys, I'm back. Let me see how everything's moving right now. So you looks like US 30 swung back up. So it looks pretty fine for the most part. Yeah, I mean it's still swinging back up right now. Let me see if there's anything else here that's really really affecting the market. All right, so everything looks fine for the most part. Let me see if there's anything else here. I'm looking at the chat real quick to see what everyone's looking at. NZDJPY is swinging back up as well, so that looks fine for our active position. I'm gonna look through the other pairs to see if there's any other Forex pairs to look at off the next 4-hour candle close. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll keep looking at whatever we currently have active as we continue on. But thankfully, the indices are swinging back upwards because we do have that US 30 buy. But looking at everything here, it looks like everything is swinging back up. So if I go back up from here, UK 100 is swinging back up, S&P as well swinging back up, Nasdaq is swinging back up. So it's looking decent for us right now. It looks like all the indices are coming right back up. So I'm not too worried about these currently. And yeah, obviously, if we see some scalps, I'm going to take some scalps. But I currently don't see anything right now. So this is going to be horrible. If this ends up spiking down right here, this is going to be a scalp downwards. And obviously, I'm not going to take it because it's going to go against our current trade. And I don't think this is going to be necessarily a good scalp anyways, because this drop right here was due to the news. So I think it's going to swing back up. But if we were to take the scalp here, it'd be something like this. If it ends up closing, that's a big if, like if it ends up closing, because there's no guarantee it's going to close like this. It can swing back up and close. And if that happens, then we'll be taking it in the other direction, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that alone for a bit. And then we'll come back and take a look in about 5 minutes when this candle closes. Otherwise, let me take a look at the Forex pairs real quick, see if there's anything worth taking here that we can possibly, look at. So let me see if there's any other questions here real quick. Sorry, I'm going to be answering your question right now. All right, cool. Yeah, sorry, I just responded to you on Telegram. Let me see if there's anything else here before we continue on. So if you guys message me on Telegram or if you guys emailed me and I haven't gone back to you yet, I will be getting back to you. It's just I'm here on the live stream right now, so I don't have time to really respond to you guys just yet. But I will get back to you guys eventually if I haven't gone back to you yet. So let me see. All right, cool. Looks like we're good for the most part. Let me just go ahead and take a look at these other pairs to see if there's anything worth taking. And just a reminder, if you guys have questions, put them in the chat. I can answer anything that you guys have, with regard to any assets you guys want me to analyze, any type of trading strategies that you guys are confused with. And if you guys are brand new here, I can show you the K2 strategies as well. Just, put a question in the chat and I can answer anything that you guys have. Meanwhile, otherwise, I'm going to look for trades off the next 4-hour candle close here for Forex. And if we don't see anything here, then we're probably going to be holding off until Asia session later. Sorry, my phone's going off. Nice, Ken. I just saw your message right now. Yeah, guys. So for you guys here, if you guys are familiar with the scalping strategy, I mean, there's a lot of people that ask me about the scalping strategy. It works for all assets. It's not just indices. For example, here, obviously we have a bunch of wins here. If you're scalping this, if you wanted to trade it on Forex as well, one thing that Flynn likes to trade on is the Aussie crosses. So Euro odd, Euro NZD, GA, GN, those are a couple of pairs that people like to scalp with. And And, obviously there's a lot of entries here that are available as well. So if you were to scalp these trades here, here, I'll just show you guys like some examples here, because you don't have to use this for just indices. I personally use it for US 30 specifically, but if you like to trade something else, you guys can use it for like literally anything. It's just really up to your preference and what you like to trade. I just can't necessarily, help you with determining what are the sweet spots for each asset, because I don't trade everything. I only trade what I'm good at, right? If you're good at something, like if you're good at a different type of asset to trade, you can use it on there as well. But just using this for an example right here, like Euro odd, if you wanted to use the scalp strategy for Euro odd here, it works perfectly fine. Like, let me just show you an example here. If you were to take this trade here, so like, for example, right here, we have this, let me just replay it from this point, just to show you guys this entry right here. So right here, if you have this rejection off the pivot and rejection off the structure, there's actually 3 entries right here. There's this green one, there's this green one, and this red one. So these 2 right here are both entries. If you were to take this one right here for Euro odd, if you wanted to scalp this, you would scalp this right here for a short, because you have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. I think the sweet spot for this is about, I think 25 or 30 pips. So if you took this for 25 pips right here, and you took this sell, you would have hit full TP right there. I think it's 30 pips actually for these Forex spreads, because you want some cushion in your range for you to take this position. So this would have hit full TP right there. And then if you were to, because there's another one here, that's 1 entry for that green one. And then again, right here for this red one, because they both reject off the pivot and the structure, right? Rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. There's actually more entries here. So there's 4 entries. There's this green candle, this red one, this other green one, and this red one right here. You can see that the rejection happens off the structure and rejection happens off the pivot. So rejection off the green pivot right here and the structure. There's a sell entry right there for about 30 pips, which obviously would hit full TP. So if you were to take this trade right here, full TP, the one next to it as well, that red one right here, if you took that one right there as well, another full TP. This green one right here, rejection off the pivot and the structure, full TP. This red one right here, rejection off the pivot and the structure, another full TP right there, even if you got in like super late, right? So this strategy works perfectly fine on Forex. It works well on US 30. It works well on any index, any future, gold, commodities, anything like that. It just really depends on what you guys like to trade. So if you guys have a specific asset that you like to trade and you want me to test this strategy on it, I can show you like pretty much right here real time. And this works both ways. You can take buys and you can take sells, and it works perfectly fine. So there's Euro odd. If I go over to like Euro NZD, it's the same thing here. It doesn't matter what you want to trade. If you want to trade this, and I'm only using these because this is something that the K2 members actually use. I personally don't trade it on Forex as much because it just moves too slow. I like fast moving pairs where I can make my money really quick. That's why I like US 30, because it works so well on there because it moves so quickly. But if you wanted to apply this on Euro NZD as well, same example right here again, same situation. So if we, backtrack to like, let me see, actually this zone right here connects way up here. So if you wanted to backtrack to, something like this for Euro NZD, it's the same situation again right here. Right here we have the rejection off the pivot. There's actually a ton of entries right here. So if you were to take any of these entries over here, you have the rejection off the pivot right here, rejection off the structure. If you were to take that, short position right here for about 30 pips as well. So if you took that trade right there, obviously would have hit full TP. There's 1 entry there. Again, right here, there's we wouldn't have taken this because it rejects off both pivots, but we would take this one right here. Another full TP right there. Again, right here, this red candle, rejection off the pivot and the structure. Another full TP right there. Another one right here, rejection off the structure and pivot, full TP right there. And then a whole bunch more. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries right here. They all would have hit full TP. That's for Euro NZD. So you guys can see that it works very well on Forex. It works well on indices. It even works well on Bitcoin. I don't even trade Bitcoin like that, but other people have traded it like that. And I mean, it's the same difference. You know, for example, here, it's the same thing that we're looking for. We're looking for a rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. So if you were to catch this right here, like for example, we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure right here. I think this is the one that I think Kia might have taken this over the weekend, or someone might have taken this over the weekend. But if you took this trade right here, and then you enter a long position from right there for about, let's see, about 727 pips, you would have caught this huge spike up right here, right? Even before Elon announced that he was going to take that, like he was going to support Bitcoin. But you can see right here, every time you get the rejection, even right here, same situation for a sell. It just really depends on what you guys want to trade, right? If you guys want to trade Bitcoin, you can trade Bitcoin. If you want to trade Forex, you can trade Forex. If you want to trade indices, it works both ways. There's 631 pip profit right there off that scalp, and then another one right here off the scalp as well. So it just goes to show that, you know, this works for pretty much anything. And if you guys have something that you guys want me to look at, I can take a look at that as well. Let me see if there's anything else here. So that's it for Bitcoin and for whatever else we were looking at. Other than that, let me go back to US 30 right here. So guys, I wouldn't take this sell right here, even though there's a scalp entry right here. Like I mentioned earlier, this move down was because of the COVID news, right? I think price is going to correct back up and it's going to swing back up from this point. So I wouldn't take these sell scalps right here. Well, I mean, you can take it if you want, but I wouldn't recommend taking it because it's just too risky, because a lot of this was based off news or price spike down. So just keep that in mind, guys. I know people are going to ask about this maybe tomorrow or later tonight. You know, if I would have taken these trades, I wouldn't have taken it because everything here is based off news right now. But yeah, going back to Harris. So Harris mentioned odd CAD short. Let me pull up odd CAD real quick. So there's no short right now for odd CAD. It still has a bullish bias because we have a buy signal. Until we get a sell signal, then I would take the short, but we're still in a buy bias right now. So just looking at this right here, we have the rejection off this structure. We have the buy right here. We have the breaking structure right here. So all requirements right there, the rejection, buy signal, breaking structure. What did it do? Push up to this structure right here. And then if it closes above here, so this is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for price to close above here. And if this closes right there, then we can take another long position right there. It's the same pattern that just keeps repeating itself, right? So like same situation right here, we have the rejection off this lower structure. We have the buy signal right here. It also broke and closed past the structure. So rejection, buy signal, breaking close past structure, and then it shoots up to here, to this next structure, right? It's the same thing repeating itself. Same with the opposite direction. We have the rejection right here. We have the sell signal right here. And then it pushed down to this structure right here, right? It just keeps bouncing back and forth like between structure to structure. So it shows that you're looking, let's see, odd CAD short rejected off the fib. So you're looking for a sell here. And that could technically happen. So like I mentioned here, for a buy, we're basically waiting for this to break and close past here, right? If this doesn't end up breaking and closing past the structure right here, then we could be looking for a sell. So like you mentioned, you know, there's a rejection off this point up here, kind of similar to whatever, you know, the fib that you were mentioning. This could provide for an entry as well. So like, for example, here, if we have this rejection, say we get a sell signal somewhere down here, and then price closes below this structure like this, then yeah, we can take that sell position and take it downwards to the next structure down here, right? It's the same thing. You can trade in both directions, just waiting for that confirmation. Right here, we don't have that sell signal yet, so there's just no entry that's available. But you know, looking at price up here, it's the same pattern that I was just discussing for the buys. It works the same way for the sells as well. It's just, you know, finding that confirmation until it happens. So yeah, Harris, I mean, personally, I'm looking for a buy right here. I have a buy bias because the most recent signal was a buy. However, if we get a sell signal, then yeah, I could be looking for a sell. But currently right now, I'm still looking for a buy for odd CAD until we have that confirmation that it swung, you know, back downwards. So until then, I'll keep looking for a buy. Otherwise, you know, we'll be looking for a sell if it swings down. Otherwise, we're just gonna be looking for a buy. until we have any other confirmation telling us otherwise. So let me see, I think that's about it for that right there. Unless you guys have any other questions, I'll just keep looking around and see if there's anything available here. Oh yeah, and someone else was asking about oil the other day too. So like, for example, the strategy does work for oil too. I mean, if you wanted to scalp oil, like I'll just pull it up right here, or anything really. I mean, I showed you guys Forex, I showed you guys gold, I showed you guys silver, I showed you guys Bitcoin. I guess next step, someone else wanted me to look at oil. So I'll take a look at US oil real quick for the scalp here as well. And you can be doing the same thing here if you wanted to scalp this as well. So like, for example, here we have, let me see if I can find some entries over here. Mark that up. Mark that up. That right there. There. That right there. And then these two zones right here, which are, I mean, they're pretty irrelevant at this point because price is so far up, but I'm going to mark them up anyways. So just looking at these zones right here, I mean, obviously if you guys saw these entries, so like, for example, I'll just show you this right here. This is a clean entry. So right here, we have the rejection off the pivot and off the structure. So wick rejection off the pivot and the structure right there. If you were to take this trade for US oil, you would take, you know, obviously a long position right here. This would be too wide of a range. Probably right here would be better. Maybe about like, I guess 200 pips, it should be 20. So if you took this position right here for a long, I mean, obviously you can see that it hit full TP at that point, like eventually it ended up hitting full TP. So you guys can see here that, I forgot who asked about oil, but you guys can see here that it does work on oil as well. It's not just Forex. It's not just indices. It works on literally anything. So that's about it for that. Let me go back and see if there's anything else here. So it looks like we might have gotten a buy signal for US 30. So it looks like it's swinging all the way back up, which is perfectly fine. It's better for us right here. And yeah, I'm going to keep holding on to it. So good thing we held on to this, Byron. You know, obviously it's doing exactly what I mentioned earlier. I mentioned that, you know, that drop was due to the news, the new COVID news that was being released. And now it looks like everything is swinging back in positive territory for all of these indices. So yeah, I mean, it looks good for the most part. Let me check Bitcoin again, because I actually bought, like I mentioned, I bought some Bitcoin this morning when Elon made that announcement. So I could definitely see Bitcoin pushing up higher and higher. Yeah, so it's just retracing down a little bit. Obviously, after a big push like this, it's going to have to retrace. But I'm holding on to this Bitcoin long term. So that's pretty much it for that right there. Let me see if there's any other questions. You know, otherwise, I think that might be it for the day. So it is 9/11. We have about 48 minutes until the next candle close. So I'll just keep looking at the charts. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will. Sorry, guys. Yawn a little bit there. It's kind of chilly today. It's supposed to be hot this week, but now it's kind of cold. Yeah, Byron. Yeah, US 30 is going back up. Definitely, right? Just gonna hang on to that and see how this ends up playing out. I might even take some scalps in the other direction for some buys to cover that that small little loss that we had earlier over here for that scalp. But this loss was actually covered already because we took a win down here for this buy. So I took that win. I locked in some profit off that. So I'm technically like pretty decently in profit right now. But yeah, looking at Forex pairs, let's see. Gio wants me to take a look at AUD/USD. So let me pull up AUD/USD for you real quick. Here's AUD/USD. I already marked this up because we're looking for this confirmation, but I'll just analyze it from scratch from you, Gio, because I haven't seen you in here before. So you're probably brand new. I'll just go ahead and take everything off the chart and I'll do an analysis from scratch so you can see what I'm looking for here. So for AUD/USD right here, here's the naked chart. First thing I do is I turn on the K2SR indicator to identify the zones. So I do the same process for everything that I look at. It doesn't matter if it's Forex, indices, crypto, stocks, doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm pretty much drawing these zones right here. And then once I draw these zones, I'm going to go ahead and identify the moves from that point. It's got an update from CNBC. Looks like everything's pushing back up, so it looks good so far. But yeah, just looking at this here, I'm just going to draw these zones on the chart for you. And then after we have these zones drawn up, take that off the chart. And you can see right here that I drew these zones from today on February 8th, and then zooming back to previous data over here. Looks like the last time odd USD was in the same price point. So I drew these zones right now, but they date back way back to 2018. So 2018 over here in June, this is the last time it was there. And then again back in April. So the entire year of 2018 looks like it was in the same price point. It's kind of cool because if you look back to here, you can see that on February 8th, the same date of 2018, 3 years ago, it was in the same price point, right? So it was in the same price point, but once it broke above this last structure up here, it ends up shooting up super high. So like from this point, if you were to take this long position, once it broke structure, it actually shot up like 165 pips right there. So that's a nice push up. So I'll go back to current data right now. And price is currently trying to reach that point again, right? So like, for example, right here, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator and identify these critical areas of rejection. So like right here, we have a rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. Now what we're looking for is we're waiting for price to break and close past this structure right here. If price breaks and close past this structure, odds are it's gonna keep pushing up and test this structure right here, where we could take a long position. And we'd probably push it up to here for about 25 pips, a small little move, nothing too crazy. The reason for that is because there's a lot of structure up here and we don't want to hold on to it as it reaches up here because this can easily reject off this point, reject off this point, or reject off this point. So it becomes a risky area to trade once it gets to this point up here because it could reject from a whole bunch of areas right here, right? The safe point for here would be if price ends up pushing up further and pushes up above here, because you saw that what happened here in 2018 when price broke above this structure, it shot up like about 160 pips. So if you were to take this position up here and pretty much just roll that up like it did in the previous, that's a nice move up right there, right? It's a really nice profit. So I mean, if it does break and close past the structure, we could possibly take it for a little move. But you know, overall, we would obviously want to catch it as it gets up here, because this would be the big move. This would be the very big move up here. This is a small move right here. It's only 25 pips. The risk might be a little too high for us to want to take this trade because you know you don't want to get caught in this trade and ends up reversing on you and the end getting stopped out. So just keep that in mind for this. But odd USD, this is pretty much what we're looking for here. We're just waiting for price to break and close past the structure. Once that happens, we can take a long position right here. But the real target would be up here. So that's pretty much it for odd USD. Let's see if there's anything else. We have about 43 minutes left on this candle. So once those 43 minutes have dwindled down, we can possibly take some entries for these Forex pairs. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me see if there's anything else here to look at before we continue on. Going back to odd CHF, the same one that I marked up earlier, just waiting for it to break and close past that structure. All right, let me just get this over real quick. We got Tara. Sorry, I'm just responding to these messages real quick. All right, so it looks like we're good to go for the most part. RJPY right here. This is something that we're looking at. If it ended up breaking past the structure, I was anticipating that I was going to shoot up. It did exactly what we thought, and now we're just waiting for it to hit full TP up there for about 36 pips. Going back to our NZDJPY, we have this current active position right now from last night. I call this buy for NZDJPY, and it looks like it's swinging back up finally. So it looks good for the most part, and we'll continue down the list. I'll go back to odd JPY over here. Yeah, sure, no problem, Gio. Glad I could help with that. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I can analyze anything for you guys. Otherwise, if there's no questions, I'll just look through these pairs and see if there's any entries available for the next 4-hour candle close on Forex. So CAD-JPY right here, we identified this from this point over here. And this was a nice rejection off this point. So this right here actually rejected off, so rejection, buy signal, breaking close past the structure. And then we were anticipating it to shoot up here to full TP. It looks like this was kind of rounded off. It's like 50.7. This probably should have just been 50. I think it was just something that I was looking at yesterday. But yeah, if that was the TP, it looks like the TP might have hit or might have triggered. Otherwise, I think it's going to keep pushing up further because it should probably push up to test this structure up here before it comes back down. Let me just get this real quick for Yatara. Sorry, let me just get him. Yatara just upgraded to the indicators. So let me just give him his indicators real quick. So yeah, guys, if you guys want to access these scalps on your own, if you guys have the indicators, you guys can do it yourself. That's why everyone here is just upgrading to the indicators, because you can make way more profit taking the trades on your own rather than waiting for me to call these trades. But I mean, if you guys want to just copy my trades, you can do that as well. Like, especially if you guys aren't 100%, confident with your trading, then yeah, obviously you don't want to copy my trades. But once you get good enough, you can easily just take these trades on your own. It's not rocket science. It's literally just looking for 2 requirements and then taking the trade. So let me just get this real quick. All right, cool. So I just updated that for Yatara real quick. Let me see if there's anything else here. So US 30 just gave a buy signal, so it looks pretty decent. I think when that buy signal closes, it should shoot right back up. Thankfully, the news for COVID stopped just in time for us to swing back up. Look, stocks making the biggest moves. So yeah, we have a lot of stocks here that are actually in US 30, I think. So if these are all pushing up, I could definitely see it continue up even higher. So it looks pretty good for the most part. I think US 30 is going to spike right back up. Looks like everything's kind of pushing right now. Everything's in positive and it's pushing up even further. Also looking at the ticker right here, all of the indices are now in profit. So they all look good. Looking at the other indices. So I'll go down the list again real quick for the indices right here. Just to show you guys, what's moving and what's not. So we'll go back, we'll go down from the Aussie 200. So that's bullish right there. That's looking good. The Chinese index bullish, Spain index bullish, French index bullish, German DAX bullish, Japanese index bullish, Nasdaq. So this is what I was talking about earlier, guys. Don't get caught in these little fake outs right here, right? This spike right here is because of the COVID news. And then look how much it spiked up from that point. It spiked up down. So this is what you don't want to get caught in. You don't want to get caught in these fake outs where they lure you into these sells, because as soon as you enter that sell, it spikes all the way back up. So from this point, it actually spiked up about 500 pips for Nasdaq. That's a big spike up after this huge drop this way. So that's why this is what I mean about, sticking to your guns and holding on to your position, even though it doesn't look great, because odds are it's probably going to swing back if that move was based off news. So all the indices look great so far. They're all bullish again. So I think our US 30 should be all right. So we'll be hanging on to that for quite some time. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here to look at before, we continue. Hamizan said, EuroCAD, Shawn, I want to sell it. Okay, so let me pull up EuroCAD real quick. And yeah, like David said, Hamizan, show us your analysis. Yeah, Hamizan, if you can send your analysis, that would help so that we can, I can compare my analysis to yours, because maybe you see something completely different than I see. But I'll pull up EuroCAD real quick and I'll just show you, what I'm looking at right here. So you're mentioning that you want to sell it. I'll go ahead and analyze this from scratch again so that you guys can see exactly, what I'm looking at when I'm analyzing this. I'm going to delete everything off the chart, turn on the K2SR indicator, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones on the chart first. so that we could identify these rejection points. But you know, like what David mentioned, it would be better if you guys, like if you guys want me to analyze something and you guys have a perspective or you guys have some bias on a specific asset, it would be good if you could share a chart so that we can look at what you're looking at and then we can compare it to my analysis and see what's different. Because obviously, you know, there's no right or wrong way to trade. That's what I always remind you guys. You know, if you have a strategy that works or a type of analysis that works consistently, then it's a good strategy. You know, you guys don't have to trade like me. It's just that I like to simplify things so that there's no confusion when you trade my strategies, right? You guys know exactly how I trade. There's no guesswork. Literally, if you follow the requirements, you'd be able to follow this properly, and you guys can copy, you know, the same trading style that I've adopted here. So, like for example, right here, we have the rejection off this structure up here. We have the sell signal right here. You can see that once price broke structure down here, it pushed down to this structure right here, right? So rejection, sell signal, breaking structure, came down to test this structure, and then now it's rejecting off here, right? So for Euro CAD right here, in order for me to take a sell, Hamizan, I would need it to close down here. I mean, technically you could close right here, but there's not enough space for me to really want to take this trade. It's less than 20 pips. It's not really worth my risk. I would rather have it close below here. And then once that happens down here, then I would take the short position from here, right? That would be the good entry right there. However, wherever price currently is right now, there's just no confirmation yet that it's going to continue back down, because this is scenario number one. Price can easily come back down here. If it closes below here, we can take the sell. However, if price rejects off this point, because we do have a rejection right here, right? Rejects off this point. If we get a buy signal somewhere around here, then odds are it's probably going to push up to this next structure over here, right? If you look at this down here, same pattern. Rejection off this point, buy signal, breaking close past structure right here, and then it ends up pushing up to this structure up here, right? Same thing can happen right here. If we get a buy signal, that can happen. However, if we don't get that buy signal and it keeps pushing down from this point, then we can take the sell, right? There's two different scenarios that can play out from this point. If this closes below here, we take the sell. If price ends up rejecting off this point and shoots up here, we get a buy signal. Then, sorry, let me fix this. It's a new tool. I haven't seen this tool before. Oh, this is the brush tool. My bad. Yeah, I haven't used this one before. But yeah, if price ends up breaking above there, and then, how many times did I draw this? There you go. So price ends up breaking above there, and then we get the buy signal, then we can take it in the opposite direction upwards. So just keep that in mind for EuroCAD. Obviously, we have a sell bias right here because we don't have that buy signal right now, but we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, you know, probably 30 minutes to an hour from now when the next candle closes. So that's pretty much it for EuroCAD. Let's see if there's anything else here. Gio's mentioning, I thought AUD was going to retest 76,800, but it kept support and I going bullish. So let me just pull up odd USD again. Yeah, so Gio mentioned that he thought odd was going to retest 76,800, which would be 76,000. Oh yeah, I mean that could happen right there too, Gio. I mean, you know, obviously there's no one way for price to really move because price can reject at any of these structures. You can see right here, if I take this off, you can see that price respects these structures pretty nicely, right? So like right here, basically break and retest, price broke, retested. It's right here, price broke structure, retested, and then it shoots up to the next structure, right? Right here, break and retest, continued up higher. So it failed to break the structure right here. So it didn't like, you know, obviously the break and retest didn't happen here because it never broke above it. So same situation here. I mean, it's the same thing that you're looking at where it can come up and test the 76,800. Like for example, right here, I'm waiting for this to come and break, close past the structure. If this happens, we can take a small scalp right here to ride this up further. And then from that point, you know, it can obviously push up to where you mentioned 76,800, or actually, no, sorry. Yours is like way down here, 76,800, which would be 76,800. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. See, I guess you were anticipating it to break and retest from here, right? So broke structure, come back, retest, and then come back further. Which that could happen right there. But so that's one scenario. Scenario number two is the one that I mentioned earlier. If it ends up breaking closing past here, it's probably just going to keep pushing up further from this point, or it can come back down, retest, and then come back up. But who knows? I mean, we really won't know until it actually plays out. But looking at the AUD USD, if I pull up the index right here, so I'll pull up the Aussie index right there, and then the dollar index DXY right here. You can see that the Aussie is very strong, right? It's super strong, super bullish, and the dollar index is weak. So if this is strong and this is weak, this is going to indicate a strong bullish move. So this is probably going to keep pushing up. It might not even come down for that retest because the Aussie dollar is so much stronger than the US dollar right now. So I don't really see that coming down, Gio. This is one way to confirm that as well. It's probably just going to keep pushing up higher and higher from that point. All right, let me just answer this question real quick for Yaktara. I think he sent me his, let me just hook up the homie real quick and give him his access to the indicators. So the chart is ready to make some profit off these scalps. So I would always prefer to, let's check real quick. See that. Yeah, no, Aaron just messaged me right now. So Aaron's doing over here. Yeah, guys. So just looking at this right here. Yeah, no problem, Yaktara. So Yaktara just created that new username, so he doesn't have access to it yet. It's all good. Once you have access to it, Yaktara, I'll give you access to the indicators. I'll continue to follow up with you to figure that out. But yeah, we got about 30 minutes left on this candle, guys. I'm going to look for some Forex trades in case there's anything worth taking. Otherwise, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But till then, I'll just look for some trades right now to see if there's anything we can possibly take. So this possibly for odd CHF if it closes above that structure. Other than that, let's see. Yeah, odd USD is a decent buy if that closes above it. But we'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. Turn on the momentum indicator right here. Yeah, currently looking for a buy there. Nothing on that. Wow, look at Euro odd right here. So we were waiting for this to break and close past the structure. It looks like it already broke and closed past it. It's on its way to full TP. I think if it ends up closing below here, we could take it for another one down there as well. Let me just make sure there's any lower zones before we look any further. See a Euro odd right there. Let me see if there's anything below that. Because obviously we want to be looking for the next area of rejection. So we know exactly, where to exit before price gets to that point. All right, so if price ends up closing below this structure, we have a long way to go. From here down here, if we want to take another sell, we have a nice little gap for about 100 pips right there, about 115 pips. So it looks pretty good for the most part right there. For Euro odd, I'll keep that marked up in case we see anything. But other than that, we'll keep looking for other trades. So Euro CAD over here, the same thing we were looking for. I would want this to close below this structure before I take it. So nothing really worth taking right there at this point. Harris, we looked at AUD USD already. I'll look at that in a little bit. But we literally just looked at that. I'm not sure if you like stepped away from your computer, but we just looked at that for Geo like about 3 times right now. But it's fine. You know, I'll look at it again. I'm just not sure if you missed that analysis from earlier. I'll go back to look at that shortly. Let me just go through these pairs real quick and see if there's anything that we could, you know, possibly take off the next 4-hour candle close. Let me just get this lower zone. I think the lower zone is like pretty far down. Oh yeah, so we already have the zone set up here for Euro GBP. Let me just go over here. So no entry for that. Euro JPY, nothing there. Euro NZD. So this is a nice entry right here. Actually, we have the sell signal right here. If this ends up closing, we can take this for a sell entry right here. So for example, right here we have the rejection off this point. We have sell signal right there. If it ends up closing, we can take a short position right here and then pretty much ride this down to this point for about 55 pips. So I'm going to have this marked up right here just in case it closes. That looks good for the most part. Euro USD, nothing there. GBP odd. Looks like price, yeah, price ends up closing below here. This could be a nice little scalp, maybe 40 pips. So I'll keep that marked up right there and I'll come back to it. GBP CAD, nothing here. We would need this to, obviously we have the self signal right there. So just looking at this here, we have the rejection off this point. We have the sell signal right here. Next up, we would need this to close below the structure down here so that we can take a sell entry for GCAD. Until that happens, nothing there. At this time, it's in GJ. Nothing there for GJ, GN, nothing there. GU, nothing there. NZD CAD, nothing there. NZD CHF, nothing there. NZD JPY still currently active. This is the trade from last night. NZD USD, no entry there. We'd want this to close above this structure right here in order for us to take that long position. So like looking at this here, there's the 4-hour. All right, the next zone is actually right here, so it's a little risky. Yeah, so if we were to take a long position right here, let's see. I mean, it's a decent move, about 30 pips, which, I mean, profit's profit, guys. If you guys could lock in some decent profit off these when the market conditions aren't the best, I mean, you know, by all means, why not? USD CAD right here, we have the rejection off this point. We have the sell signal right here. The next thing that we need is we would need price to break and close past this structure right here. Once that happens, we can take a short position right here and just write it down to the next structure. So that'd be a nice drop for maybe about 40 pips right there, right? Yeah, so that'd be good right there. Other than that, USD CHF, same situation right here. We have a break and close past this structure. We have the rejection from this point. We have the sell signal right here. And then we have this right here as well. We have that right there, short position. Right there, this could be pretty decent. So I'm gonna mark that up as well. See, we have this, I'll mark this up, I'll mark this up as well. And same right here for USD JPY, rejection from this point. You guys can see it's the same exact pattern, right? It just keeps repeating itself. Rejection, sell signal, we're waiting for it to break past the structure right here. And if we have that, we can take a sell position off this point and then ride this down for a nice little move. For about 70 pips or 68 pips, I don't know, whatever the difference is. But nice setup for there as well. USD SGD, nothing there. And I think that's about it. So looking at NZD USD, Hamizan mentioned NZD USD. There wouldn't be a buy position yet, Hamizan, until price breaks and close past the structure. So we'd have to wait for that. So nothing available for that yet. Let me go ahead and take a look at these other questions real quick before we start. with anything else. So Harris mentioned odd USD. I analyzed this earlier, so I'm not going to redraw it, but we're waiting for price to break and close past this structure right here, which it currently has broken past it. It just hasn't closed. We have about 4 minutes left on this candle. If it closes above here, then we can take this long position for a nice little scalp for about 25 pips. Nothing big, but it's a decent little scalp that you can possibly take if you really wanted to. So that's it for odd USD right there. Oh, sorry, it's 8 hour actually. There we go on the 4 hour. So same thing. I mean, it's a small difference, but we're just waiting for that to close past that structure. Same thing there. So that's it for that one. Angela said current candle 11:30 possible scalp for US 30. Let me check. Yeah, so no, definitely. If this ends up closing right here, let me just pull this up. Go back to this chart over here. Or actually, there's no entry right here for this, Angela. Let me just redraw these zones. Maybe I'm missing some zones here. This is on a 10-minute. So looking at this right here, it looks like we have a zone right here. We also have a zone down here. And this connects to this one. This one right there. This one right there. And also this one right here as well. So just looking at this here, Angela, I don't see any rejection off this lower zone yet. So I don't think there's an entry here just yet. This would have to reject off the structure too. So we do have the rejection off the pivot right here. But we don't have the rejection off the structure. So we need the rejection off the pivot and the structure like we did right here. See, if we got that right there, then that would be a solid buy right there. But just looking at current price right now, Angela, I don't know if you have different zones. Maybe we have different zones drawn up. Because I think I was looking at the 30 or something. Yeah, no. So if I'm looking here on the 10-minute, I don't really see anything here just yet. Actually, yeah, we're looking at the same candle right here, 9:30. We would need this to reject off the structure and the pivot in order for it to be a valid entry. So until then, I wouldn't take the trade just yet. I would just wait for it to confirm, because what could happen here is this is what could happen. Price could like push up from this point, and then at that point there might be like, you know, a new structure that gets developed right here. Like, who knows? There could be a structure that ends up popping up at some point right here, and then you could possibly take it from that point. But I think for right now, I wouldn't take this trade because I don't have a structure right there at that specific zone. It's just rejecting off the pivot. Sure, no problem, Hamizan. Glad I could help. Yeah, so I think that's about it, guys. I don't see any other questions here right now. But yeah, Angela, I would wait for the rejection off the structure, and then I would take that trade. But I think currently right now it's just a game of patience. I mean, even myself, I want to enter this for another scalp up because I want to cover that small little loss that we took earlier today. I mean, it was already covered from the win before that, but obviously I want to make it back and make some more on top of that. But yeah, so if this ends up, so if you just keep watching this, Angela, if this ends up spiking down like this, so if it spikes down and then swings right back up where there's a wick, because there's 8 minutes left on this candle, right? So this can easily spike down, hit the structure, and then come back up. If that happens, and then we have the rejection off this structure and this pivot, then this could be a perfect entry for you right here. Angela said, can you pull up zones on your 10-minute chart? So yeah, let me pull up the zones real quick. There we go. So I have the zones right here drawn up. It's the same zones that I just drew. So I have these set up right here on mine. If I turn this back on, I've drawn the zones over those. But other than that, I think that's about it. I don't see any other zones within this area just yet. So I'm not sure if you see something different. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm just blind right now because it is still kind of early in the morning for me. So I'm kind of still not there 100%. But I think for the most part, it looks like the zones are pretty much the same. Emma, yeah, we're still in NZD-JPY right now. But yeah, Angela, just pulling this up right here. I don't see any zones from that point. You can see right here that these zones right here are connected. This top line is a little zone right here because you can see that these zones are connected, right? So you can see this zone started from right here. This is the lower zone, and this is the upper zone. So that's what creates this zone right here. For example, right here, this zone right here is connected to this zone. So that would be a zone right there. This right here is a small zone. It's a zone, but it's really small. So you can see right there that it's just that little wick that's above the red. So this technically is a zone that's just like right over here. It's a really small one. It's like that. Do you see that, Angela? It's a if you connect these two, you can see that all the zones are connected. So this is one zone, this is one zone, this green one is one zone, but you can connect this as one because they overlap. And then again right here, this is a small zone right here. This is the big green zone, and then another green zone right here as well. So this one right here is just a really small zone above there. It's just connected to I think if we went on the shorter time frame, so if we go to the 1900, so 1900 right here, and I go like on the 5 minute. If I go over here to this one, 1900. Yeah, so if you're looking at this right here, this would probably be where that zone is. So if I check this off right here, you can see that it's kind of connected right there, right? So this would probably be just this little area right there where that little wick is. So if you go on the short time frame, I mean, you can probably see it better on the short time frame, but I can see where you kind of connected those two from there. Let me just go back to 1900, see if I can find out where that. Yeah, so for here on the 1 minute, you can see that it's very, very small. It's just that little area right there. But I can see that. I can see why you connected it, because if you just look at it from a bird's eye view, it looks like this isn't even it looks like this is probably connected to like this one down here, right? So yeah, I mean, technically you could do that. If you really wanted to connect those, you could, but I don't think it'd be wise, because if you check this from here, this zone from like this area down here is a big area. It's about 400 pips. So if your zone's that wide and you're scalping it, it could be easier for you to possibly take some sort of like unnecessary risk, because the zone is just way too big and they're not connected necessarily. But I can see what you're looking at there, because I was thinking about doing the same thing until I saw that these zones weren't actually connected. I saw that these were actually this was part of this one, this was part of this one. So yeah, it's good for the most part. Let me see what else we got over here real quick before David said, no, you're fine, Angela. That's something that I would have probably thought as well, because usually you don't see this that often, right? Just looking at this here, this is usually see a pretty clean zone, but right here, it's just by itself. It happens sometimes, it's not something that you could really avoid. And if you get too invested in your position, you'd probably want to take that trade, because I probably would have taken it too. Like this right here looks like a nice rejection. I could see why you would want to take this trade, because look at these rejections, super solid. And then it's also in the direction of our daily position. So it's like, why not, right? Wouldn't you want to take that? But yeah, if you want to take it, you can. I just find it a little too risky for me to want to take it, so I wouldn't take it. But it does look like a good trade. Nice. David said brief breakdown below. 250 didn't hold. So yeah, David's looking for the next quarter point. If you guys are familiar with quarter points, see, the next quarter point is, the price is currently right here. The next one's going to be at 500. That's a big move, David. 250 to the previous quarter point was right here at 250. Looks like David's trying to push this up to 2. Man, who cares? Let's get to that quarter point, right? Because we want to hit our position. So the next quarter point is actually way up here. So I would definitely want that to hit so that it goes in our direction. So yeah, Dave, I'm with you on that. Let's hit that quarter point so we can hit our TP on our daily position right up there. So let's see how this plays out. Other than that, let me see if there's any other questions before we continue on. All right, so let me go back to Forex. We have some Forex questions over here. Yeah, I'm still in the NZDJPY right here. It's pushing back into profit as we speak. Other than that, let's see. John's asking about USDJPY. I don't see a long here. John, I'm not sure if you can send a chart, we can compare your analysis to mine, but I see I have a short position right here, short bias. We have the rejection off this point, sell signal. If price breaks and closes past the structure, then I would take the short position right here. I don't necessarily see it for the long though. So maybe if you can share a chart, John, we can, cross analyze our analyses, but I don't see any long position for USD/JPY right now. Even if I pull up the index, we'll pull up the DXY over here, and we'll pull up the JXY over here. As you can see right here, the Japanese index is bullish, it's strong, it's pushing above the pivots. And then for the Japanese index, it's going down. So with that said, this is probably going to go sideways for a bit because they're both bearish. But actually, no, my bad. I'm analyzing this wrong. So yeah, for example, here, I think this is going to be bearish because with this said, the Japanese index is gaining strength while the dollar index is weakening. So if the dollar index is weak, that means that price is going to go down, right? Because if the Japanese yen is stronger than the US dollar, then price is going to go down. Vice versa, if the US dollar is stronger than the Japanese yen, then price will go up. But looking at the indexes right here, the Japanese yen is strong while the dollar index is weak. So with that said, it's probably going to push down further. And if it closes below here, we're going to take that sell and write it pretty much down as far as possible. So I don't really see a long for UJ. If you want to share your chart, we can analyze your analysis as well, but I don't necessarily see anything in my perspective. So CT sent out his chart to me right here. He's looking at the DJ right here. So nice. So yeah, right here, it looks like CT's trading it on the 30-minute. Nice rejection off this point. He's anticipating a push up from here. That lines up perfectly with what I'm looking at as well. So just like looking at this point over here, we have the Dow 30 where the rejection's off that structure. Looking at this over here, I'm gonna pull it up on my chart on the 30-minute right here. Oh yeah, perfect. So CT actually identified this perfectly. So he has this lined up where it rejected off the pivot and the structure. Same with CT's analysis right here, right? Rejection off it looks pretty nice and clean. So from that point, if this ends up playing out, I mean, obviously this would be the scalp entry right here. And I think if you're trading it on the 30-minute, I think we go for like what, 750, I think, something like that. So yeah, 750. So it looks like it's currently in profit. If you took that scalp earlier off the 30-minute, and this is what I mean about this working on all time frames and all assets. Like if you want to trade it on the 10-minute, you can trade on 10-minute. If you want to trade on 30-minute, you trade on 30-minute. If you want to trade on the 1 hour, you can do that too. It's just really up to you on how you want to apply it, right? So CT is applying it on the 30-minute. It looks pretty solid right here. You can even push for a higher TP possibly, like that. But other than that, guys, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing being applied to different assets. We apply the same exact strategy to everything, and it works perfectly fine. So if you guys want access to it, like I mentioned, just go on the website k2trades.com, right over here, and then click on K2 Strategy Course. You'll get access to all of these K2 indicators right here that we have on the chart, and you'll be able to take these trades on your own. So nice call on that CT. It definitely looks like a good trade. So if CT's trade plays out, that's perfect because it lines up with our US 30 buy as well. So if CT wins on the 30-minute, we'll win on the 10-minute, and we all win here, right? It's a win-win for everybody. So it looks perfectly fine. If everyone's analyzing this for a buy, then I think everything looks good on our end. And I'm just going to keep holding on to this as it continues to, play out. Obviously, it's going to have some slow movement until market close. We're getting close to lunchtime on the East Coast, so a lot of people are getting out of the market temporarily while they go have lunch or whatever. And then they'll probably be back for another mid-market swing. So yeah, CT said TP above all-time highs. I will let it run. If price was within range, then regular TPs. Yeah, I know, definitely CT looks good so far for the most part. We just got to hang on to it and just let it do what it's supposed to do, right? I'm probably going to hold this into the swap and then just let it pretty much run from there. Other than that, guys, we have about 8 minutes left on the Forex candle right here for the 4-hour. So I'm just going to scan through this and see if there's any entries that we should take. So odd CHF doesn't look like it's going to close above here within the next 7 minutes. So I'm going to take that off my watch list or, off my pending trades. Same with odd USD right here. It looks like it lost some steam. So it didn't close above this structure. I'll keep watching it though. If it does close, we'll take that buy entry. But if it doesn't, we're not going to take it. Euro odd right here, it looks like it pushed down way too far. So no entry here for me. I mean, technically you could enter this late right here because this would be the actual entry, but it's only going to push down for about like 35 pips, right? So it's not really worth the risk in my perspective, because this can easily spike back up. Like this could be a classic break and retest, right? Price broke structure, retest before it comes back down. And if that's the case, it's going to be too risky for me to want to take this trade because it might trigger the stop loss before it reaches TP. But what I could do here is I can wait for it to possibly swing up a little bit. And then as it swings up, if it ends up pushing back down, then we can set a sell stop right here to catch this trade as it comes down further. So this is pretty much all that I'm looking for right here for Euro odds. Well, I'll keep that marked right there. Other than that, let me look for any other entries here that are available. Euro NZD, same situation right here. Price ends up closing below here. I'll take the sell. But we do need that sell signal to close. We have about 6 minutes left on this candle. So as soon as this ends up getting to that point, we can take this trade. David said lunch, massage parlor, potato, tomato. Exactly right. What's the difference there? Not much. Euro USD right here. We're waiting for this to break above here, but I don't think it's going to break above. So we're going to, I mean, it's not even on our watch list for the next upcoming trades. Same with GA over here. We were waiting for GA to close in, to break and close past the structure. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but I'll keep watching it for the next 5 minutes to make sure if we can, take that trade or not. What else do we have marked up? USD CAD. I was waiting for this to break and close past the structure. It didn't happen, but it looks like it'll be setting up for an entry into Asia session. USD CHF. Same situation here. No break and close. And then lastly, for UJ over here, we're waiting for that break and close as well. So all of these down here don't look like there's any entries available. Same with AUD USD. Looks like it lost its steam after a little bit. But we still have 5 minutes left. So if it does close past it, then we could be good. If not, then we're just going to keep waiting for that to play out before we take that entry. Going back to US 30, it looks like it's still pushing up pretty nicely. So CT, if you're still in that trade, it looks good for the most part. Obviously probably go for the smaller TP first, but then we could always extend it out further if it ends up pushing out further from where we're watching. So I think that's about it, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, the next 4-hour candle closes in about 5 minutes. If we don't have any trades here, then I'm probably just going to sign off for the day. I've been on for about 4 or 5 hours now. So I've been on this live session for some time. I got to take a break. I'm probably going to hit up the gym for a second, wake myself up, and then I'll probably be back for the Asia session later. I do have some mentoring sessions today. So I have one mentoring session with Rami at 2 o'clock. I have another one with Donnie at 5 p.m. and then one lastly at 7:30 p.m. with Josh. So if you guys want to sit in, I think the one at 7:30 p.m. is probably going to be the most important, because Josh is the one who created the Sunday Funday strategy, right, for US 30. We're going to be going over his strategy and going over any other strategies that he wants to cover, because he said that he had a new strategy. So you guys definitely don't want to miss out on that if you guys want to see any new strategies in the making for K2. In order for you guys to join that session, you guys will have to like the YouTube videos, follow the stream, and turn on notifications, because I don't share that link publicly, right? When I have mentoring sessions, if you follow and like the stream and turn on your notifications, YouTube will know that you want to watch my video. So when I go live later, they'll send you an email like, hey, Shawn is going live on the YouTube. So if you guys want to join this live stream, just click this link and they'll give you the link to sign in to watch my session. So just keep that in mind. If you guys want to sit in on my mentoring sessions, or if you guys want to follow any of the new strategies that we're developing, I do hold them live. It's just I don't share the link. So if you guys want to sit in on that, make sure to like and follow the stream so that YouTube knows that you want to watch my videos. If they don't know that you want to watch my videos, they're not going to send you the links. But if they do know, they'll send you the links and they'll email you to let you know every time I go live. I go live about 3 or 5 times a day. So, if you want to have more of these sessions, just, do what I just mentioned right now, like and follow the stream, turn on notifications, and then YouTube will let you know the next time I go live, which the first session will be at 2 p.m. my time today, which should be about 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. In about 4 hours, I'll have the first session with Rami. And then at 5 p.m. later today, in about 5 hours, I'll have another session with Donnie. And then after that, I have another session at 7:30 p.m. my time with Josh, where we're going to be going over the the new US 30 or K2 strategy that he's been working on. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's all available to you. It's completely free. You don't have to pay for anything. All you have to do is like and follow the YouTube channel with notifications on. That way you can get notified whenever I go live. So let me check out these pairs again real quick to just keep an eye on what I'm actually looking for. So Euro Auto, I'm probably not going to take this. This is just too risky of a trade. Euro NZD, this might be one that I'll take. This is probably the only one that I have in mind right now for these pairs. So let me just go take a look at the other pairs real quick. So yeah, Euro NZD is the only one that I have on my list right now. So I want to pull up the index to see if this actually looks like a good trade before I take it. So if I'm taking a Euro NZD sell, I want the NZD to be stronger than the Euro index. So looking at this here, they're both bullish. So this is kind of risky because the NZD, the New Zealand index, dollar index is strong, plus the Euro dollar index or the Euro index is strong as well. They're both bullish. So we might see this go sideways for a bit until it ends up choosing a direction, until one of these goes opposite of each other. So it looks like the New Zealand dollar is going to be stronger than the Euro index because this looks like it's coming down from this point, and this looks like it's continuing up. So if that's the case there, then this looks like a pretty solid entry. So I'm going to go ahead and call this trade now before the candle closes, or I'll wait. We have about 55 seconds left, which is not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and just call it right now so that you guys in the premium can get this trade and you guys can get ready to catch this from here. All right, so let me just call this trade real quick. This is going to be a sell limit. About 55 pips. It's not bad. It's actually a pretty nice move down. Pips. It looks pretty much good to go. So I think that's about it for these trades right here. I'll go ahead and put that over there, and I'll probably share this other one. I don't know if I share the NZDJPY yet in the public group, but I'll share that there anyways, just in case. There. Asking. All right, so I shared those trades over there. Other than that, I think that's about it. Let me see if there's anything else here that we can look at before I sign off for the day. Or not for the day, just for this session, because I'm going to be back again later in a few hours. So let's see. TP1's about, was that 17 pips? Oh, 13 pips, actually. Seven. Profit level is about, all right, so I set up my alerts right here for Euro NZD. I think it's currently active right now if you guys want to take it. If you guys just want to put a sell stop or sell limit, whatever, you know, your position would be, that could be fine right there. So yeah, everything looks fine for the most part. Our US 30 is still running right now. But yeah, I think that's about it for the session. So Tyrell is asking what time. I have 3 different sessions today, so they're all throughout the day, Tyrell. I have one at 2 p.m., have one at 5 p.m., and then one at 7:30. So if you guys want to follow that and sit in on any of the YouTube sessions, just go ahead and like the stream and follow the YouTube channel. And make sure to turn on your notifications, because if you have to let YouTube know that you want to see my videos. If you want to see my videos, then like the videos and follow the stream and turn on notifications. That way YouTube will send you an email whenever I go live. I go live about 3 to 5 times a day. I go live in the morning at 6:30 a.m. every day for my live trading, and then I have mentoring sessions all throughout the day. So if you guys want to sit on those, I don't share those links out. So if you guys want to, just follow, like, and turn on notifications for YouTube, and then YouTube will let you know whenever I go live. But I think that's about it for today, guys. I answered everyone's questions, so I think we're pretty much set. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me. And if you guys want access to the K2 indicators, just click on K2 strategy course right here. And then you'll have access to all of the K2 indicators right here that we use for all the strategies. So you guys can learn how to trade exactly how I do, and pretty much profit like everyone else in the group. So if you guys want that, just go on the website, k2trades.com, and then sign up. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys at the next session at about 2 p.m. So in about 4 hours, I'll be back live again with Rami to go over any of his questions. So other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys later, and you guys can catch me on the Telegram chat meanwhile. So catch you guys until then. I'm gonna take a break, go to the gym, and I'll catch you guys in a few hours. So